for the club. However, we didn't have enough budget and funding to support this. So these allocated travel and lodging funds are completely necessary for the function of our growing club. So first thing in travel is nationals travel, which will be in Kansas City, Missouri. So we're looking to travel by plane, and round trip is $260 per person. We're looking at a total cost of $5,200, but then 60% of that can be covered, so around $3,100. Next is nationals lodging, right? So we're going to be staying in nationals for 4 nights, and we're looking at $35 a person per night, so $2,800 total for this. And then a few other tournaments that it's pretty important for us to get lodging for because they start very early at 8 a.m. Right? So traveling, for example, to Georgia Tech for an 8 a.m. tournament would require us to leave at 2 a.m. or something like that, right? So we're requesting, again, $35 a person for both the Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, as well as JMU tournaments, which will put us to about $1,000 per tournament. And the last thing is just supplies. We need a ball cart because we have to have a way to store our balls during practice.
All right. Thank you very much. Do any senators have any questions before I ask a couple? All right. Thank you guys for doing your research on how much we can appropriate for things. That makes my life a lot easier. So as I said, we're pretty limited in like the percentage that I can give out this year. So like my main question is, out of your kind of 4 main categories, what is most vital that we fund?
Definitely, at least for us this year, the travel and lodging, because I would say it's hard to like say because capital is very vital for our function, but also so is travel and lodging. Like these are all necessary for our functioning as a club, right? So we need balls and jerseys to play and practice, but then also to actually compete, we need the funding for travel and lodging in that case.
Okay. Other than that, you guys, like I said, you made my life easy. I don't have to go through and like make sure that your math is correct and all the travel stuff. So thank you for that.
No, of course.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through. I'm going to actually other question. When you're on UNC's campus, what would you say like? Do you guys have a decent sized audience or impact aside from like your current members, or what does that look like in terms of even when you go away, like what size of population does your organization kind of affect?
Yeah, I can let Jordan or Jack talk about that. I think they would know.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, I can cover that. So currently we're actually in the middle of tryouts, but every year our team is roughly around the 30-person mark. So we have around 25 to 30 people coming to practice 3 days a week. During our home tournaments, I'd say we have a pretty good turnout. Last year we had a tournament in October. I think we invited about 10 to 12 other teams, to come and compete here at UNC. And then, of course, including people we invite, which could be, family, friends. We had a pretty good turnout. I'd say definitely over 200 people a given tournament day. And then that's pretty similar for other tournaments we attend. There's especially some of the bigger ranking tournaments in our spring season. So we compete in 2 to 3 of those in the spring. And it's also like a fairly larger scale tournament.
Okay,
so.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, I have gone through and done some rough calculations. So I'm gonna have to make a couple of motions, then we can talk about what this means. And yeah, I motion that for under the category of lodging, we appropriate $3,000. Do I hear a second? Senators, need a second, maybe. Luke, Trace, guys, maybe. Senator Mana, Senator Guskowitz. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Luke.
Second.
All right. For travel, not including lodgings, I move we appropriate $2,000. Do I hear a second?
I second. Sorry, I have to go to another room.
Yeah, you're good. Don't worry about it. For capital expenditures, I motion we appropriate $1,500. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And for supplies, I motion we appropriate $100. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, so that is a total appropriation of 6,600. As this is under 50%, you can appeal this through the treasurer's office or to the whole Senate. Other than that, this is subject to change. So over the next 2 weeks, this can potentially change before the full Senate hears this. Typically, it only goes up. At the end of these meetings, if we're below budget, we push up to budget. So we'll allocate based on kind of what we see as needed. But yeah, do you guys have any questions?
I don't have any. I don't know about the rest of the guys.
Nope, this sounds all good to me.
Yeah. All right, thank you guys.
Yeah.
And again, you made my job a lot easier than some places. So thank you very much.
Of course, perfect. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Have a good one, guys.
Yep, you too.
All right. As always, I'll be back in a second. Okay. Hey, hold on. I'm gonna stick you into the breakout room in 1 second, and then whoever's here from Quidditch, like I said, we're running slightly behind schedule. We had a late start, so you guys are gonna have to hold tight for maybe like 8 minutes before I can stick you into a committee session. All right, thank you. Hold on, let me stick you in real fast. All right, see you in a sec. Oh, hey guys, my name is Chair Baruch. I am the ethics chair. I normally don't do this. I'm standing in for the vice chair of finance, so bear with me. Couple of things before we start. Try to keep your spiel to like 3 to 5 minutes. As I said, we're running behind and we want to make sure that we're staying as on schedule as possible. Otherwise, we are appropriating roughly 45 to 50% of total requests this funding cycle. So just keep that in mind as you're giving me your spiel. And let's hear it, you guys.
Okay, cool. So we're Club Handball. We are one of the premier clubs, not just in college, but pretty much of handball in the country. Last year we finished second at college nationals, and the year before we won open nationals. We've also sent about four players to the junior national team in the last couple of years. So successful club. We've been growing very fast the last few years. We have 40 or 50 players right now, like a lot of new freshmen that we're trying to keep. One thing we really pride ourselves on is being like welcoming and inclusive of everybody, like regardless of their experience, athleticism, and like especially like financial situation. We try to help out with travel and tournaments as much as possible to keep like out of pocket costs pretty low, because we really do want to grow the sport and like provide an opportunity to play for as many people as possible. So we try to finance like away tournaments as much as possible. And considering that handball is still growing in the US, we often have to travel, relatively far to play tournaments like Ohio. We have an Ohio and Minnesota tournament coming up this year. So like lodging and travel costs are the brunt of pretty much of our request.
Yeah, for sure. So just going down, my name is Malachi. I'm the president of the handball club here. And just going down, I'm not sure if y'all have the breakdowns pulled up, but I was going to walk you through basically what I put down and the thoughts behind it.
Yeah, go for it. I haven't pulled up, so I can look at them as you explain.
Cool, perfect. So I'm looking at the Minnesota one that's coming. So we do have 2 teams. The Carolina team is our A team, and then the Tar Heel team is a B team. And then we also are like one of the few like teams like Holden was saying, we produce national team players. We also produced Olympians in the past. So this is one of those tournaments that is like high level competition. Like U.S. Army will be there, teams from Miami, New York. It's really high competition team that allows our players to develop. But with it being in Minnesota, like so far away, like the travel is one of the bigger costs for us. And like we were going to look to fly. If that's something that we can't get approved, we're going to look to drive as well. And then that's just the gas cost for that. Rental cars is, as you can see, the bulk of the cost there, as it is also a very like competitive tournament. The entry fee is also really high just to like ensure that teams are committed to playing these tournaments, as it is like a highly like regarded event and is very like prestigious. And then lodging is just Airbnbs, normally 2 houses. We bring like 16 people. So most Airbnbs are like 8 to 10 people limit. We can't fit all 16 of us in one house safely without getting some kind of fine. So that goes down to that cost. And then just as a brief explanation about everything that's going on over there. Ohio tournament, a little bit more so the same. Lodging still the same with the Airbnb situation. Registration, that's also one of the U.S. sanctioned tournaments that does help for our seating in nationals. So it also does have that high entry fee. And the travel just covers. We normally plan to drive to Ohio. We've done it for the past 2 years. The gas is like the burden of that cost. Like I think driving there and back, we did 3 cars and a 15-passenger van. We had nationals last year there. And I think we spent like around $500-$600 just on gas alone, like between diesel for a 15-passenger van and then like 3 other cars alone. But then again, that's another tournament for our players to get experience, get seeding for nationals, and also get scouted for national and Olympic teams. And there actually is where one of our players just finished playing in Europe this past summer. And he was scouted at a tournament last year. So that's just one reason why we want to keep going to these tournaments to give our players more opportunity. We do host 2 tournaments. The one we're hosting in the fall is our Tar Heel Invitational. And while we don't have to travel for anything, we're not paying for lodging, we do have to host it and put on for it. So we're paying for the referees to come, we're paying their salaries, paying for their food, we're helping with their lodging. And then last year that did cost us, I think, $1,600. So we're just trying to keep the cost as low as possible. So our players aren't looking to pay anything on the cost. We don't charge dues for any of our players at all. And that's one of the big things where we look to bring freshmen into because of that. Like a lot of them want to stay with us and we don't want to charge them like $300-$400 of dues like some other sports clubs do. And then the final thing here is just not something that taking too much of your time is we do have a formal that we did with the women's handball team just to kind of keep camaraderie high, support. You know, it's a lot more fun when they're supporting our games, we're supporting their games, and practice when we're all having fun. And then this year we plan to do that with other sports clubs as well, just to bring sports clubs together at Chapel in general as one of the campus recs values. So we did it last year at Carolina Coffee Shop. I think it was like $800 for the total thing. If we're looking to do it this year with women's handball, men's handball, and of course other sports club, we're looking for a bigger venue. So we're requesting a little bit more of $1,000 just so we can get something either like reserved the back of Might as well, or like try and get something reserved at Carolina Inn. We're just looking for a bigger venue that can hold more people in a safe amount as possible. So that's basically the whole spiel of our requests. If you have any questions, we would love to answer that as well.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Do I hear any questions from senators? Okay, hearing none. Okay. Main questions. When you went through and calculated your travel and lodging totals, were those kind of like in compliance with the student code one? So
yes,
per person. Okay.
I like charge the mileage,
the per head and per mileage. All right, perfect. Thank you very much. Other than that, like I said, we're kind of limited with the total amount that we can appropriate. So out of, the different line items that you've requested, be it like venue rental, dues and fees, equipment, labor, lodging, travel, which ones do you want to prioritize the most? Which ones are most important to your organization to make sure that things work properly?
I think the most definitely travel. Like we have to travel these huge distances, paying gas, a lot of stuff is like the only cost we do charge our players like the most. So if we can handle as much of the travel as possible, that would be great. Like if that is one other thing is iffy, like hosting a tournament, like the tournament fees are also one of the things, but travel for sure is the top.
And tournament fees goes under dues and fees.
Yeah, like the registration.
That's what you line itemed under the. Okay, perfect.
What was that?
That's what you line itemed under is under dues and fees for tournament stuff, correct?
I think so.
Okay.
I can
okay.
tell you that.
Yeah, that works. That works perfectly. All right. I'm gonna go and do a couple calculations really quickly, and then I'll let you guys know what your total allocation is.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm just still raining. Change the next hour.
Gotta get home soon.
A little scary out of here. Can't stop smiling. Like the awkward silence.
All right, guys. Okay, we're going to walk through these really quickly. I have to make some motions, and then we can talk about what they mean. I move that we appropriate $1,200 in the category of travel. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion that we appropriate $800 in the category of dues and fees. Do I hear a second?
I second.
All right, I motion that we appropriate $400 in the category of building venue rental. Do I hear a second?
I second.
All right, I motion that we appropriate $700 in the category of lodging. Do I hear a second?
I second.
I motion that we appropriate $200 in the category of equipment rental. Do I hear a second?
I second.
And I motion that we appropriate $400 in the category of labor fees. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Okay. That comes out to a total of $3,700 appropriated. This now a couple important things. This is not final. This is subject to change over the next roughly 2 weeks before it's voted into law by the full Senate. Typically, this only means it'll go up though, so don't be too concerned about it dropping down, but just make sure that you check in and make sure that this is so you understand for budgeting. Yeah, do you guys have any questions about anything or?
No, like actually, yeah, I have one question. I know like since we are like doing events and like it is sponsored now by student government, we do have to do like this event was like allowed possible and help possibly like partly sponsored by student government. Is that something that like we have to like submit to y'all as well, or we just like let that be known and it's like
you just have to publish it on your thingamajigger. That you don't have to let us know. You just have to like say, if you're like handing out flyers or something, you say, sponsored by student government or whatever.
Cool.
All right. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, have a good one.
Have a good rest of your night.
Hey, y'all too. Bye-bye. All right, Luke, Robert, I'll be back in a second. I'm going to try to catch up to time. Hopefully we have people who don't show up. Okay, hey y'all, Club Quidditch, I'm going to add you to breakout room 2. Well, that's where we'll hear you.
Yep.
And then both Pediatric Love and Support and Cyst Assist. We started kind of late, so we're running a little bit behind. You guys are going to have to hang out for 8-ish minutes for Pediatric and possibly like 16-ish minutes for Cyst Assist, just a heads up.
Okay, thank you for the update.
Yep, thank you guys.
With the other room.
Okay, sure.
All right. Hello. My name is Chair
Hello.
Baruch. I am the ethics chair. I'm just sitting in right now because our vice chair had to head out for a mandatory meeting. A couple things before you get started. Try to keep your spiel between 3 and 5 minutes. We don't want to go too far over because, like I said, we're currently behind schedule. Otherwise, we're currently appropriating at a rate of roughly 45 to 50% for this this session. So just keep that in mind while you're giving me your spiel. All right, let's hear it.
Okay, so hello, my name is Philip Fan. I'm the treasurer of UNCCH Quidditch Club. So Quidditch, also known as quadball, is just a sport from Harry Potter. It's a high intensity, full contact, co-ed, gender inclusive sport. And it's a combination of different rugby, dodgeball, basketball, soccer, like different sports. And our club comprises of players from different types of sport backgrounds. And we also have someone who has never been involved with sports before. So it's a really like starting sport for some people. And we accept players from all levels and backgrounds. We compete both regionally and nationally if we have a chance. So we made it to the nationals in the last 2 seasons. It was at Philadelphia and Salt Lake City, Utah, respectively. And this year we're also trying to work our way to national. So right now we have roughly 18 to 20 members on the team paying dues. We're still like in the process of collecting dues right now, and that's also kind of the size of an official team. So if we go to some tournaments, we will likely to bring everyone, like 16 to 20 people there. Um, so for our budget, first of all, we're thinking that every team member would get 2 team jerseys. So it's like our team merch for the tournaments. And right now, we are requesting like $100 for each person. Although like the deal was like a little bit more than $100, but we're requesting 100. So that would be like $2,000 for 20 members. And also, we are heading to Richmond, Virginia, October 28th and 29th. That should be a weekend. This is one of the primary tournaments that we are planning to go this semester. We are taking 4 cars, again, like it's 16 to 20 people, and it's at Richmond, so it's roughly 334 miles ride, and it's a round trip. So according to the reimbursement rate for gas, it's roughly $440. And also, it will be for 2 days, and the first game will start typically at like 8 or 7:30. So we're thinking about staying at Richmond for one night. That's the lodging for 16. Well, we're asking for 16 people. So according to the rate, it's roughly $560. And also the entrance fee for the tournament is like $75. And this is the like main tournaments that we are looking at this semester. And also, we're trying to purchase some equipment for our weekly practices. They are basically connector pieces, spaces. Those are the components, parts of our hoops in Quidditch. And also we are trying to purchase like 10 new brooms, which are also just equipments for the sport. So the equipment is totaled as $260. And yeah, and that should be all.
All right, thank you. This looks good. Like I said, we're appropriating roughly 45%. So out of what you requested, like the specific line items, what would you say is most important for your organizations? Like what do you need us to give you money in to make sure that like you can function as you want to and that everything works out?
I would say like the most important is the tournament, because like we need to like take part in official tournaments to earn the eligibility to go to nationals.
Okay, and
So,
that's like the travel and lodging and dues and fees.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and also, I mean, jerseys is like it's kind of required for tournaments, but it's like not that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. If any other senators have any questions? No. Okay. I'm gonna go through, run some calculations, and then I'll let you know what we appropriate.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I motion to appropriate $400 in the category of travel. Do I hear a second?
I second.
I motion we appropriate $100 in the category of supplies. Do I hear a second?
I second.
I motion we appropriate $400 in the category of lodging. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I motion we appropriate $75 into the category of dues and fees. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And I motion we appropriate $600 under the category of clothing. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Okay. So that's a total appropriation of $1,575. Which, let me just put on one, does fall underneath 50% of your total request. What that means is if you would like, you can appeal this to the undergraduate student government treasurer and also the full Senate. Otherwise, this is subject to change over the next roughly 2 weeks. This has to be voted in by the full Senate after all the finance hearings are done. So before that, there might be some changes that are made. That's almost always up. So basically what happens is if we've gone under budget, we'll go through and we'll appropriate more money. So you can kind of like keep track of that on the Congress Appropriations website. And I just recommend that you make sure you're checking that in about 2 weeks so that you understand how much money is getting allocated. Do you have any questions for me regarding the appropriations?
No. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for coming out. And I hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
See ya.
All right. I'll be back in a sec, y'all. All right. Danielle for Carolina Pediatric Love and Support. I'm going to scoot you into breakout room 2.
Perfect.
There we go. All right, hello. My name is Chair Baruch. I am standing in for Vice Chair Joshua right now. So bear with me. Quick note, let's try to keep our spiel for about 3 to 5 minutes so that we don't go too far over time. We started late, so we're running a little bit behind schedule, as you can tell. Otherwise, we're currently appropriating at roughly a rate of 45 to 50% for this funding cycle, so just keep that in mind when you're giving me your spiel. All right, perfect. Let's hear it.
Sounds good. So, hi, I'm Danielle, and I'm with CPALS, and we're requesting $6,686 in funding. Just to give a quick description of who we are, we're a nonprofit here at UNC devoted to helping kids in their families who are part of the hematology oncology clinic at UNC hospitals, and our goal is to really build relationships with those kids and their families. We're a relatively large organization with 200 members, those who come back for more every year. We're currently having a recruitment period, which is really exciting now. So I will now get into the budget description, what y'all have in front of you and what I submitted roughly a month ago. So our budget is broken down by our committees, the work that they do, as well as events. And you'll see that as I go through that list. And the first item on that list is our Small Fest and recruitment publicity efforts, and that's at $1,886. So during the fall semester, as we know, with Small Fest and all things like that, we look for funds to really help grow the club. And usually what's on there you'll see is promotional stickers, t-shirts, posters, and supplies, just to really grow our organization. The next list item that we have is our special projects committee job and like what they do with that with their efforts. So that committee really focused on making craft bags for the pediatric oncology patients, as well as decorating the clinic. So for there, we asked for $450 to make those craft bags, and in those bags you'll find like just felt, construction paper, and we cut them up and make them. So it's really fun for the kids to have while they're staying at the hospital. And again, we also look for cleaning supplies to help manage that, and just decor for the clinic that we do again once a month. So the next item on the list is the Festival of Hope, and now this is an event. So this is going to take place the 24th of this month, which is really exciting for us, and it's going to provide a fun experience for patients and their families to be able to go out in Southern Village and just have a really great day. We have like the basketball team coming. Last year they had it, and we always just have a lot of like really fun guests to enjoy that day. UNC Health this year is covering the majority of the expenses for this event, but we are asking for $100 to cover small expenses that include, the decor, the setup, and like last minute things that come up while planning for it that the UNC hospital won't cover. So we're getting down to the last two items on the list, and this is more so of social activities. And for here, we asked for $1,000. So for social, it is a division and requirement that all of the members in the organization fulfill. And we really have this part. So instead of not only helping the patients and their families in the hospital, we also want to bring Carolina students together who have a shared mission to help CPALs. And for these social events, we have 2 every month that are very popular, and that results into having one event that's capped and another that's uncapped. And examples of these events that you can see there and the budget that included for each event include like pumpkin decorating, flower arranging is a big hit, friendship bracelet making, and just anything that's creative and bringing Carolina together. So again, we are requesting $1,000 for those endeavors. And if you're just like wondering about like the attendance of those events, I can just say for myself, it's always popular, especially those that are capped. Like we have to cap at roughly $40 to $50 people because it gets very busy. And the last event in our funding request is the Golden Heroes 5K. So we're requesting $3,250 here. It is a run that we hold every year, and last year we got a lot of engagement with it, and we were able to raise $1,173 for this. And we raise that money not for us as a club, but we raise it for giving scholarships to the kids in the clinic. So we do a really great job, and the money that we're asking for will go through runner supplies, t-shirts, and just all of the above to just make the run as successful as possible, so we can give as much to the kids who are looking for funding for those scholarships. So thank you so much for hearing the requests, and I can field any questions related to what I just spoke about.
Thank you. Do any senators have questions? All right, hearing none. I just have one major one. Like I said, we're running at roughly 45 to 50% appropriations this cycle, give or take a little bit. So between capital expenditures and printing and publicity, is one more than the other? Like, is one more important than the other necessarily? Would you rather have a higher rate of appropriations to one, or are they both equally necessary for your organization?
I would say that the CapEx is a lot more important than the printing and publicity, because we have a lot of engagement. Just like right now, looking through how many people signed up for the interest meetings, there's definitely a lot of people who want to come regardless, with or without the presence of those stickers, of those promotional activities, but we still do a lot of that. So that's why I'd highlight the CapEx for being the more important side of where the funding would be coming from. But I would say that that's just the printing publicity is up there, but second to CapEx.
All right, if you give me like just 1 minute, I'm going to go through on some calculations and I'll get back to you on what your final total appropriations are.
Perfect.
Okay, I motion to appropriate $2,500 in the category of capital expenditures. Do I hear a second?
I second.
I motion that we appropriate $850 in the category of printing and publicity. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Okay, running off of those really quickly, if you look underneath the student code under printing, there is a required submission that you're gonna have to do to the undergraduate student, the treasurer, to just show like the printing costs. That's all outlined in the student code, and if you need more help with that, you can email Treasurer Grodsky. Other than that, this is subject to change over roughly the next 2 weeks. This full bill needs to be approved and under the in front of the full undergraduate senate, which means that before then this could fluctuate. Typically, it only fluctuates up, but just make sure that you kind of check back again in about 2 weeks to be sure that what we've talked about here is what you're getting appropriated. Other than that, do you have any questions for me?
Do you mind just repeating the number that you said?
Yeah, so your total appropriation is $3,350. It's $2,500 under the category of capital expenditures and $850 underneath the category of printing and publicity.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a good one. All right, Luke, Robert, be back in a sec. All right. Sis to sis, I'm going to scoot you to breakout room 2 for your hearing.
Thank you.
And then for Ektal, we are running behind schedule currently. We started late, so just bear with me for as long as you can here. All right, thank you guys. I'll be back in a sec to put you guys into your room.
Sounds good.
All right, hello. Really quickly before we get going, my name is Chair Baruch. I am the ethics chair usually, but I am currently subbing in for the vice chair. Really quickly, let's try to keep this your speaking part to 3 to 5 minutes. We're trying to get through this as quickly as we possibly can. Other than that, we're currently appropriating at roughly a rate of 45 to 50% this cycle. So just bear that in mind when you're talking and communicating the importance of the different funding allocations. All right, let's hear it.
Well, hello, I'm Francia Seal. I'm the co-treasurer of Sister Sis UNC, and you may be asking what Sister Sis is. Sister Sis is here to promote diversity and inclusion by helping the Carolina female community create their legacies. In addition to having a safe space to thrive here at UNC, we are going to host several events that support the purpose of uplifting, mentoring, and forming and inviting social environments for students to connect with others. The founding principle of our organization was created with the Carolina female body in mind. We will benefit from having the allocated funds given to us to facilitate these events, which will enrich and bond the student body. These funds will be utilized for supplies and equipment for events, as well as honorarium guest speakers that will motivate and assist in career development and networking. Our long-term goals are, but not limited to, developing the personal leadership capacity of students through self-awareness, community service opportunities, developing a sense of community among women here at UNC, working in conjunction with other campus organizations for the benefit of women and other minority people, and also providing mentorship via alumni and professional development events. Now, some of the events that we do and have planned on hosting, we plan on hosting events such, of course, as Small Fest, cookouts, Powder Puff, professional development workshop, Sweetest Day Red Table Talk, Friendsgiving, a toy drive, and of course, we'll also ask for travel costs, so we'll be able to go to these different community service projects, as well as like self-care supplies for other communities that we will be serving, because we want to focus on mental health. Now, Powder Puff is going to be our biggest event this semester. As many of you may know, COVID took away many traditional high school events, such as Powder Puff. Therefore, my club came up with the idea of bringing back this tradition that was once stripped from us and creating an opportunity for community bonding with the shared love of football. The Sweetest Day Red Table Talk is Sister Sis will be joining with the Bricks podcast, which is also hosted by current students in the Hessman School of Journalism. And this will have a meaningful conversation on a wide range of topics concerning student life on campus. This event aims to create a safe space for great discussions, to discover different perspectives on topics, to build new conversations, as well as establishing healthy platonic and romantic relationships across all genders. Then as the semester comes to an end, we're going to have Friendsgiving, and it's a time to solidify our connections before we go home for winter break. Then finally, to close it off, we will do a toy drive. And from all the materials we collect from the toy drive, we will be donating these toys to the UNC Children's Hospital around Christmas time, so they can have the joy of opening gifts all around Christmas time. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Do any senators have any questions regarding this? Okay, moving on from that, then I just have a couple of questions. So under travel, you talk about how it's kind of just a large variety of different trips that you're trying to subsidize for. The issue with travel costs is I'm only allowed to appropriate a certain amount of money per mile driven, which means it's like an annoyingly specific allocation. Basically that means that I probably won't be able to get even close to appropriating the full $500 just because we physically can't go over in the case that you don't drive that much. That's just big no, big trouble. Other than that, do you know, like I said, we're appropriating at a rate of roughly 45 to 50%. So out of your different kind of line items like clothing, equipment rental, etc., which would you say are most vital to your organization and to making it function properly?
I would say like ideally all our events hold weight, but if we were to go in like priority status, of course, powder puff and travel costs would be one because we do plan on traveling to the like all areas of the triangle to host different community service, but definitely powder puff for this semester would be the most important for my club.
Okay. And then yeah, and powder puff is mostly under rental and supplies and then programming. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm going to go through, just do a couple calculations, and I'll let you know what your final appropriation comes out to.
Thank you. And I stay here, right? Until the
Yes, I'll let you know what it is. So we can
Thank
talk
you.
a little. Okay, I motion to allocate $100 in the category of clothing. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Okay, I motion to appropriate $150 in the category of equipment rental. Do I hear a second?
I second.
I motion to appropriate $120 in the category of printing and publicity. Do I hear a second?
I second.
I motion to appropriate $700 into the category of programming. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I motion to appropriate $400 in the category of supplies. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And $250 into the category of travel. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. So your total allocation is $1,720, which is slightly above 50%. This is subject to change over roughly the next 2 weeks. It has to be voted into full in front of the full Senate body after the whole finance process is over. That meeting will be this 2 weeks from now, 2 Tuesdays from now. It might fluctuate a little bit. Typically, it only fluctuates up, but just once it's final, once it's fully approved, I recommend you check back onto the Congress website and just be sure that you understand exactly the money that you're getting, just for budget's sake. Do you have any questions for me?
The only question I have for you guys, my president probably may know, like once the funds are like allocated to us, is it gonna go directly to like our outside account that's set up, or
No. So I'm not an expert on this, but basically what happens is this is kind of like set aside in the bursar's office, and then you have to request for reimbursement. It's not the best process in the world. It's a lot faster than it used to be. If you email Treasurer Grodsky, you'll find him pretty easily. He's emailed you a bunch of times, I'm sure, regarding all of this. He can provide a much more detailed, spiel on exactly how that all works. But basically, you have to submit a reimbursement request. You don't just like get the lump sum. It's not the best, but he can give far better clarification than I can on that.
okay? Thank you so much.
All
I
right.
appreciate your guys' time.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming out. Have a good one.
You too.
All right. All right. UNC Chapel Hill Ektal. Can
I'm
I?
here, by the way. I'm just waiting for
Okay.
Andrew to give me co-host.
Oh, all right. Sounds good. All right. I'm going to scoot you guys into breakout room 2. Sound good? Hello, hello. I'm assuming at least one of you is the treasurer of the organization and has taken the treasurer's test.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, quick spiel. My name is Trey Baruch. I'm currently sitting in for Vice Chair Joshua Alexander. Let's try to go. Well, there he is. Josh, do you want to? I'll just run this one and then you can the next one. So let's try to keep this spiel to roughly 3 to 5 minutes. We're running slightly behind schedule due to late start time. Other than that, we're appropriating at roughly 45 to 50% this funding cycle. So just bear that in mind when you're kind of communicating your funding requests. All right, let's hear it.
Okay, so hi, I'm Priyanka. I'm the treasurer for UNCCH ICTAL.
And I'm Rithika, I'm the manager.
Yes, so ICTAL is a competitive dance team on campus. In fact, we're the only Indian classical competitive team at UNC. We strive to bring together those with classical training and a keen desire for learning, and also to further the understanding and appreciation for our ancient Indian art forms like Bharatanatyam and Kathak, which are some forms that we perform. On campus, we try to enrich our community with cultural diversity and bridge cultural gaps through our dance. But at our core, we are a competitive dance team, and we strive to bring our name out to the nation at every competition we attend. Each spring, we attend various classical Indian dance competitions with hopes to bring home not only trophies or pride, but also representation for our amazing university. But in order to do this, we require some funds.
Yeah, so I'm going to give a brief summary of what we're requesting. So in the category of clothing, we're requesting $5,500. And so this would mainly go towards costume jewelry, which would help us to appear more professional on stage. This costume jewelry is extremely necessary for our dance form because when we dance, it's not just like the movements, but also like how we appear and represent ourselves, because the jewelry is symbolic of our culture. And so we want to make sure that we're representing our culture appropriately. Next, we're requesting $5,220 for dues and fees, which would mainly go towards competitions. So we need to apply to about 12 competitions, which each have their own application fee. As well as once we enter the competitions, then we can go to a maximum of 3 competitions, each of which has their own individual associated fees for each member to participate. And so this is really important for us because we want to make sure that we're able to allow all our dance members to attend these competitions without putting financial burdens on them individually. Next, for programming, we're requesting $500. And so this would go towards both travel supplies and our performances. And so for travel supplies, we're requesting things like a suitcase, as well as packaging foam, jewelry boxes, and things like that, which would help us to properly store our performance materials, especially when traveling to competitions, which may be out of state, which can help to increase the longevity of these materials and prevent us from having to buy more of these supplies in future years, and just help us be more sustainable with our materials. For cultural performances, we would be using money towards things like stage markers and props, which will help us just to appear more professional while on stage during performances, to both help us better like aesthetically and functionally, so that our formations are uniform and we put our best foot forward. For supplies, we're requesting $450. And so this would go towards pit sitting, where we can share our culture with the student body and help to just publicize our team to anyone that comes by in the pit, and share about ourselves to the UNC community. We also put this money towards cultural performances again. So for other materials like bobby pins and safety pins, and just other like non-jewelry or costume materials that are still critical to our performances, as they just help us to improve our appearance. And then finally, for supplies, it would go towards things for practices, such as a speaker and a tripod. And so our team is increasing in size this year. And so it's very important that we have a speaker and like proper materials, so that we can improve our synchronization and our technique to just help our team move forward. And then also have a tripod to help us record the audition pieces for competition, so that we can again like put our best foot forward when we are applying for those competitions. And then finally, we're requesting $443.52 for travel, as well as $700 for lodging. And so these would both go towards the team retreat, which would help us to become closer as a team and build relationships between team members, as this greatly affects our dance dynamics during performances and competitions. And so we just want to make sure that since we spend so much time and work so closely with our fellow members, that we are able to interact optimally and in the best way that moves our team forward. So thank you for your time. That's all we have for you today. Do you have any questions for us?
Do any senators have any questions? All right, cool. I got a couple ones. First, you talk about your impact on at least your submission as being 500 individuals. Could you elaborate slightly more on kind of where that number comes from? If you're like expecting to have that same impact this year.
Yeah, for sure. So last year, as well as in previous years, what we're hoping will happen, or what we're anticipating will happen this year as well, is that we do many different performances across our campus, as well as in our community, as well as nationwide as well. So in our campus, we perform at different events such as UNC The Volley. We also perform at Holy. We perform at Journey into Asia. And those are events that have huge attendance, like over like 100 people typically at each of those. But then we also go to things like events that are in our local community. So we've went to Duke before to perform at their Diwali night. We've went to competitions that happened at NC State and at UMD in Maryland last year, and those had also big turnout of around 100 people each as well. And so just taking in those numbers of people who have been watching our performances, in the past, we anticipate that same number of people on campus as well as students to be around 500.
All right, perfect. My other question is, when you calculated your lodging, I am slightly confused by. Oh wait, never mind. I'm not confused by the math. I figured it out. Okay. Oh, good. So like I said, we're appropriating at roughly a rate of 45 to 50%. So out of, your different line items being like clothing, dues and fees, etc., which would you say are most vital to make sure that your organization functions in the way that you guys need it to?
Yeah, so in terms of our priorities, we would definitely say that clothing and dues and fees are where we would prioritize most of our funds to go to. As you can see, like those are obviously where we've requested like most of our money, just because they're so important. For dues and fees, we want to make sure that we can apply to all the competitions and basically be able to apply to them in a way that wouldn't put financial burden on our team members, which is extremely important to us because we understand that not everyone has those same capabilities. And then for clothing, we just want to make sure that we're able to purchase all those things necessary for our dance form. Our dance form is ancient, it's very symbolic of our culture. And so every single piece that we put on our bodies while we're performing is symbolic of something in some way because it's been around for so long. So even just like the act of dancing, we want to make sure that while we're doing that, we're representing our culture in the best way possible.
All right, cool. I've got to do a little bit of math and then I'll get back to you guys.
Thank you.
All right. I motion that we appropriate $2,750 into the category of clothing. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I motion we appropriate $3,000 into the category of dues and fees. Do I hear a second?
Second.
$400 into the category of lodging. Do I hear a second?
Second.
$200 in the category of programming. Do I hear a second?
Second.
$200 in the category of supplies. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And $250 in the category of travel. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, in total, that is an appropriation of $6,800, which is about 53% of your requested allocation. Requested allocation. Couple of things before you guys can ask me any questions. This is subject to change over roughly the next 2 weeks before it gets passed by the full Senate. So I recommend you check back next 2 Tuesdays from now to be sure that the amount hasn't changed for budgeting. Almost always this just increases slightly if it changes at all, so I wouldn't be too concerned about drops. Other than that, do you have any questions for me?
If it does change, would we check that amount on the website, or would we?
Yeah. So if it changes, that change will be reflected on the congressional website that you guys submitted your application through.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I think we're good, but
Yeah.
thank you
Alright.
so much.
Yeah. Thank you guys for coming out.
Yeah, have a good rest of your night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, Josh, I'll go scooch the next people into the breakout room so that you're here when I add them in.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Reese and Ian, you guys are here for the game development club, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to scoot you guys into breakout room 2 for your finance hearing. Thanks for being patient.
Thanks. No problem.
And then for oh, goodness gracious, 6 5. Both Claire and whomever's under the running club thingamajigger, we are running a little bit behind schedule. We had a late start due to some attendance problems, so just hang tight for a little bit in this meeting, and I'll add you guys into the breakout rooms as openings pop up.
Thank you.
Sounds great. Thanks. We requested $5,000 in funding. And so the biggest thing for us is every semester we hold a UNC like college-wide game jam, which is essentially a competition where you have about a week or so, and we give you a small prompt, and then everyone has to work together to create a video game about it. And then so the funding will be used for prizes for that. So they'll usually be in teams of 3 or 4 people, and at the end of the event, we'll have like a big get together, and we'll announce the winners based on both the community vote and the collective officers, opinions. The prizes are, for first, second, and third place. They are basically just like equipment or software or what the winning teams need to be able to, further their like game development careers. So, for example, a popular choice is like a MIDI keyboard, so like a keyboard that you can plug into your computer.
Reese, do you mind if I cut you off real fast?
Go for it.
Just as a quick question. So underneath your registration, at least on the congressional website, you have Luke Diasio registered as your treasurer. Yeah. And so, he's the only person who I can find who passed the treasurer's test. Or did either you?
So Luke is the president. He couldn't be here because he's organizing a protest in Raleigh with March for Our Lives. I passed the test last semester. Does it not carry over?
Sadly, it does not.
Ooh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, so the Vice Chair Alexander can
Yeah,
over this for me.
For student law, that's why I asked through the treasurer, because I didn't see Luke. As someone that has passed the treasurer's test on behalf of your organization, the new one has to have been here for it. So we
Okay.
legally cannot give you guys money without that prerequisite. What I can say is, if there's any solace, you can apply for the subsequent budgetary cycle. I believe
Okay.
the application was out, or they're going to email it through the Student Life and Leadership.
Okay.
So you guys can apply for that. The max is 1,500 for that, but I still recommend at least
Okay.
doing that and then apply for spring semester. So
Can you
All right.
actually,
Apology.
can you give us just a minute? I'm trying to see if we can get Luke to join real quick, if that's all right.
Yeah, that would also work as well. If you guys can
Yeah,
do
we
that.
can hold for a couple of minutes, so don't worry too
All
much.
right. All right,
Yeah.
thank
All
you.
right. Yeah. Apology about that. I thought that's on me. I thought it would carry over from last year.
Yeah, student law is tricky, but as long as he can come
Mhm.
here, it should work. If not, then yeah, you
All
guys know you can apply for the next cycle. And again, you have to apply for the next cycle, I assume you pass the test for this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he just joined.
Oh, is that him right there?
Yeah, there's a guy. His name just named Luke, but I'll move him here. See if that's him.
Perfect. All right, you're right.
Hello.
Hey.
Oh, perfect.
There
Okay,
he
so
is.
you are Luke Diassi, correct?
Yes, I'm the treasurer for the club as well as the president.
Got it. Okay, great. So you guys can continue your presentation.
Okay. Where were we? Luke, if you want to take over, you're welcome to,
Sure.
or I can keep going. All right.
It doesn't matter who presents, by the way.
All right, yeah. So kind of the idea of Game Dev Club is that we're providing a service that is unavailable through normal classes at UNC. There are game analysis classes at UNC, but nothing teaching students how to make games. So that's kind of what our club seeks to do. We help people sort of get training for their future careers in game development. But we mostly do workshops where we teach people these things. The thing we requested funding for is our game jams, which is basically like a hackathon where we have a short time period where students try to make games. And in the past, we've done jams that are both prized and not prized, and the difference between them is really dramatic. And we've really noticed that when we offer even small prizes, it really dramatically improves the effort at which students put into their games. And so it ends up becoming phenomenal resume material for the students. And UNC students make a bunch of games that then are freely available for the general public to play. And we also host social events and things like that. But the main thing we need the funding for is the jams. It's a really, really powerful motivator for our students. So.
Oh, okay. Is that all?
Yeah. Any other sort of thoughts or?
I guess the prizes are always like game, like equipment to help further your like career in game development. So that's the other thing I would mention.
We have a lot of like musicians who want to make music but don't have like MIDI keyboards, and so like the prizes are a way for them to get access to those things.
All right, thank you guys. We'll now move to questions. If any senators have any questions, you guys can raise your hands. If not, which it doesn't look like, oh, we have a ethics question. Just one moment. But yeah, I just have a few questions. So just aside from that, just first, all of the programming costs also includes the prizes, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so how are the prizes given to the winning teams? Do they go to any members of the club? Like, can a club member win a prize?
So if the question you're asking is like if anyone who can organize it, who organizes the event can win a prize, we don't do any of that. But the event is for our club members. So UNC students are the ones who are receiving the prizes. And the way that we decide who gets prizes is usually by community voting. So it's not the exec team picking their friends. It's like we hold a mass vote and then people pick the best games.
No, okay, I get that. It's just like okay, so can exec win a prize at all? Like obviously not
No.
rigging it, but no.
Oh yeah. The exec team always participates, but it's purely like honorary. Like if you're on the exec team, there's too much of a ethical issue there for them to win a prize. So yeah, we've never given out a prize to some exec team.
Okay, got it. All right, thank you. That's all the questions that I had then. With that, we'll move into appropriations calculations. How that will work is I'll take about a minute to calculate the amount you'll get. Then I'll make some motions. After that, I'll let you know how much you've been appropriated and any info you need to know. But with that, thank you guys for the presentation. And thank you for coming, Luke.
Of course. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Hero.
All right, I move to appropriate to $2,700 for programming. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, so you guys have been appropriated $2,700. 54% of your request. Just keep in mind that this is not the final amount. The Senate will pass a final budget act in 2 weeks, I believe on September 26th. So keep an eye out on the the Congress Finance website for that, in case it does change. And keep that in mind when planning operational expenses. They don't think this is a concrete value. It shouldn't affect it too much, but just keep that in mind. Other than that, do you guys have any questions?
No, that sounds amazing. Thank you.
All right, perfect then. Thank you so much, guys, and have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll go grab the next people, Josh.
Perfect.
All right, Nathan. Cool if I stick you into breakout room 2 for your hearing.
Okay, sounds great.
All right, perfect.
Oh, shoot.
And then Jennifer, we'll get to you as soon as we can. We're running slightly behind schedule due to a late start due to attendance issues.
Oh yeah, it's fine.
Good, thank you for asking. I assume you, you are the representative of the running club, but no?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, the women's club basketball is up right now.
They're being held in room 1.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
just to
gotcha.
balance out committees.
Yeah, I assume because of the time. Okay then, perfect. All right, so just a few quick reminders. First, please keep presentations between 3 to 5 minutes long maximum. Second, we don't allow the use of visual aids like slideshows and screen sharing. And then finally, for this budgetary cycle, you can expect to receive about 45% of what you've requested. With that in mind, you can present when you're ready.
Okay, so our goal for this year is to continue to provide a competitive environment for those who are interested in racing and competing in cross country and track and field while also keeping club open to all skill levels. We're participating in 6 cross country meets this fall, which is a significant majority of our funding because we have to travel to Charlotte twice, and then to App State, and then finally to Indianapolis this year for our nationals meet. And then in the spring, we'll have a bunch of road races. The Tar Heel 10 miler and the Cooper River Bridge Runner are big 2, and those will also require significant funding to travel to in Charleston. And then the race fees for Tar Heel 10 are very expensive.
All right, is that concluded our presentation?
Yeah, I think most of our request is entry fees and travel.
Got it. Yeah. All right. So we can move into questioning. So if any senators have any questions, you guys can ask. If not, which it does not look like, just going through this, but just quickly, is the travel done through car or is it through airfare or something?
We do it through car.
Okay. Not sure if is there a break? Oh, there's a breakdown.
Yeah, they did a breakdown towards the bottom, and that's correct.
Got it. All right, thank you then. All right. So that's all my questions at that point. With that said, I'll move to appropriations calculations. So how that'll work is I'll take a minute. You stay in the room. Once I finish, I'll make some motions and I'll let you know how much money been appropriated and any additional info that you need to know. So with that, thank you for the presentation.
Okay, sounds great.
All right, I move to appropriate $4,416 to dues and fees. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. And I move to appropriate $3,509 for travel. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. So in total, you've been appropriated $7,925. Just one thing to keep in mind, this is not a final amount. The Senate passes a budget act on September 26th, I believe. So keep an eye out for if that changes the values on the Congress Finance website. Other than that, and keep that in mind when planning your operational expenses. Other than that, do you have any questions?
No, sounds great. Thank you.
All right, perfect then. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
You too.
Josh, I'll go stick people in.
All right.
Sounds good.
Got it.
All right, Jennifer, I'm going to scoot you in a breakout room 2 for your hearing. You ready?
Yep.
All right, sounds good. Here we go.
Oh, should I just start?
Oh, sorry, I did not see you. Yes, hello, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, good, thank you. I just want to quickly go over quick reminders before you start. First, please keep the presentations between 3 to 5 minutes long maximum due to time constraints. We're already running a bit behind. Second, We don't allow the use of visual aids like screen sharing or presentations or slideshows. And then finally, for this budget cycle, you can expect to receive 45 to 50% of what you requested. With that in mind, you can begin when you're ready.
Hello, once again, my name is Jennifer Kwan, and I'm currently the treasurer of Korean American Student Association. Our club is an organization dedicated to promoting cultural, political, and social awareness about the Korean American community. And amidst the rising interest towards Korean culture, I feel like really advocating towards several events on campus is really essential. And our main events revolve around introducing aspects of Korean culture to the UNC student body and faculty members. And one of the main events that we would like to present and request for funding is K-Night, which is the largest Korean cultural showcase in the Triangle. In K-Night, we introduce aspects of Korean culture to the UNC community. And as students participate in the event by presenting performances, we are able to unify the community as a whole, which is why we think that is a very important event for the club. And because although it takes place in second semester, our planning, because it's such a big event, our planning begins in first semester, which is why we're asking for funding right now instead of second semester. And our essential fees include programming, labor fees, supplies, rental, printing for publicity, and clothing. And once again, because it's such an important event that we host, we believe that we need a lot of funding for such an event. And another event that is also crucial is MT, which is short for membership training. I'm not really sure if it's a familiar term in the States, but MT is a experience where students are able to bond together by going on a trip, and which is a major part in college life in South Korea, which is why by emulating the tradition, we aim to bring our members together and possibly allow students who are interested in Korean culture or are Korean but are unable to actually experience college in South Korea physically to actually have a gist of what life is like, the social life is like in Korea. And our main funding requests are lodging and travel, as technically it is a trip that takes place off campus, and especially because like weather conditions and the pandemic in the past have stopped us from hosting these events. We're having our high hopes to experience the social life in Korea. And our other events are the general body meetings, K barbecue, fundraisers, and other small events. And those fundings are more specified towards publicizing such events, renting revenues or buildings, and supplies necessary to host such an event. So though it is not as much as we've requested for MT or K-Night, we still believe that the funding would definitely help us to create a big event for us to publicize our student organization. And that is it.
All right, thank you. We'll now move into the question phase. So if anyone has any questions, you guys may ask. If not, which it does not look like, I just had really one question. What do you believe is the most, of all your expenditures that you're requesting money for, what do you believe is the most vital for the operation of your organization?
If I had to choose one, I would definitely choose K-Night because I believe that, of course, it is like the MT that I mentioned previously. It is important to kind of foster bonding within our student organization. But what I what I believe is most important is actually communicating and interacting with the student body as a whole. And K-Night is definitely one event where people who aren't like who haven't paid membership fees and aren't like official members to the club are able to kind of watch the showcase and kind of experience Korean culture. That's why I think that K-Night is definitely one that is most important for our organization.
Got it. Okay, thank you. With that, I'll move into appropriations calculations. So for this, I'll take about a minute or two to calculate the money you'll get. So you can just stay in the meeting, like don't leave. Once I finish, I'll make some motions. Then I'll let you know how much you got, how much we've appropriated, along with any additional info you need to know. But yeah, thank you for the presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, I move to appropriate $25 for building venue rental. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $110 in clothing. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $82.50 for equipment rental. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $429 in labor fees. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $455 in lodging. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $82.50 in printing and publicity. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $950 in programming. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $192.50. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. And finally, I move to appropriate $430 in travel. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. So in total, you have been appropriated $2,756.50. That is about 53% of what you requested. One thing to keep in mind, this is not a final amount. The Senate will pass a budget act on, I believe, September 26th or so. Just keep an eye out during that time on the Congress Finance website. And keep that in mind with planning your operating expenses. Other than that, though, if you don't have any questions, then thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Yep.
I'll go scooch the Students United for Immigration.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. All right. Hello. The students for United for Immigration Equality. I'm going to scoot you guys into breakout room 2 for your hearing. Sorry for the waits.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then Students for Life, you guys should be heard as soon as Committee 1 finishes there.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Correct.
All right, great. So just 3 quick reminders before we begin. First, due to time constraints, we want to keep presentations between 3 to 5 minutes max. Second, we don't allow the use of visual aids or screen sharing, like screen sharing. And then finally, for this budgetary cycle, you can expect to receive about 50% of what you've asked for any organization. So with that in mind, you guys can begin when you're ready.
Hi, yes, thank you. So we're Students United for Immigrant Equality. Our mission is to help empower and inform students, the student body, of immigrant policy, immigrant rights, spread awareness on those issues which oftentimes get hidden under the rug. As you can see, or have seen probably from our funding request, we've requested about $100 for printing and publicity materials, which will go toward expanding and promoting our organization, making sure that we're able to increase participation and awareness again of immigrant rights. The bulk of our request has gone into supplies, so we've requested about $1,000 for supplies. That goes into most of our meetings and tabling events that we do. We hand out pins, pens for the student body. We also need things like paints, paintbrushes for some of the distressing events that we hold for our meetings. There's also like a lot of smaller stuff that we do during our meetings that call for paper towels, plastic plates, cups, and all of those expenses definitely accumulate. Yesterday, we actually had a painting info session where we had a painting activity, and in the middle of it, people were still coming in, but unfortunately, we ran out of canvases. So we definitely want to make sure that as our organization keeps on growing supplies or lack of supplies won't be a problem to participation to anyone who wants to participate in our organization. We've also included about $200 for travel. Part of our activities include toy collection drives and other refugee supply drives that we collect during the semester, and we definitely need money to be able to drop those off at certain locations all across the state. That includes gas money, which we know is definitely not cheap. So we've also requested about $200 for travel. But again, most of the bulk of our funding request has gone into supplies just because those are essential for us to be able to continue operating.
All right. Is that all for the presentation?
Yes, I believe so.
Great. Thank you. So we're now moving to the questioning period. So if any senators have any questions, they may ask now. If not, which it does not look like.
One question. You guys don't show your specific calculations for travel. Can you confirm that you followed the student code's requirement for travel? If this is by car, it's a certain, it's like 33 cents per mile per vehicle. Is this how you calculated your amount, or was it more estimated?
Yeah. It says you're by car. Do you know how many miles this trip would be? How many cars? That kind of thing.
Yeah. Yes, we did look into that. It would be to be able to at least get our members, we have around 30. And this also includes, driving to certain like lobbying locations in Raleigh. So we did look at that. We looked at it's gonna be probably we would need around 8 cars, and it would depending on the event, again, if we are going to just go drop off supplies, we can do that in 1 car. So we did kind of calculate that, as well as just the amount it takes to get to Raleigh and Charlotte. Those are like the 2 main locations that we're going to be doing.
Okay. So okay, perfect. And then another two minor formalities. First, which one of you is the treasurer?
I am the treasurer.
What's your name?
Evelyn. I could rename.
No, it's fine. I just had to confirm that you're the treasurer.
Okay.
Okay, cool, got it. And it also says the group is unwilling to identify the Student Congress as its sponsor. Are you more amenable to identifying us as the sponsor, because that's a requirement for student law?
I actually believe in our funding request that we did state that we would be willing to have the student government as our sponsor.
Okay. In our end it wasn't, but that's fine. We're recording this, so that's good. Yeah, perfect. That was really all the questions that we had. So thank you so much. And with that, we'll move into appropriations calculations. How this will work is I'm going to calculate for about a minute or two. You guys can sit tight in the meeting, like do not leave. Once I finish, I'll make some motions. Then I'll let you know how much money we've been appropriating to you, along with any additional info you need to know. But thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
All right, I move to appropriate $50 in printing and publicity. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $840 in supplies. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. And I move to appropriate $170 in travel. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. With that, you've been appropriated $1,060. One thing to keep in mind, the Senate will pass a final budget act on September 26th, I believe. Keep an eye out on the Congress Finance website for the exact amount even dispersed. This value could change, so keep that in mind when planning operational expenses. But other than that, do you guys have any questions?
I don't believe so.
All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you, you too.
I'll go grab the squash club.
Perfect.
Oh. Where is the squash club? Squash club is nowhere to be found. There for 10. Oh, we're ahead of time. There's some. We're actually ahead of time now because the whatchamacallit club isn't here. So we've got to wait 7 minutes before I yoink him in.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good. At least we've caught up. All right, then yeah, I guess we can just chill for a bit. Yeah, I do wish Faith was here, but this works.
Yeah, it works fine.
Yeah.
There's only one organization that has not passed the test, which is
Economics.
Ironically the Economics Club.
Yeah.
I just went through and checked the rest of them. We're not hearing the Air Power Association. That's being heard by Committee 1 now.
Okay.
Actually scoot that over. But other than that, I'm doing good. And I'll check in with Acts 2 Fellowship before I yoink him in to make sure that they're all good with student government sponsorship.
Sounds good. Yeah. Yeah, definitely something we could take care of before we get them in because it's such a minor thing.
Yeah, I'll just ask them, and then if they say no for some reason, then I'll just say, all right, no breakout room 2 for you.
Yeah.
Naughty.
I do not get like why don't we just make it so that the form it's a required submission? I don't know why they don't do that. Whatever.
There's a lot that I don't know why regarding the entire finance appropriations process. You looked at Vita volunteers.
I have
Theirs
not.
is freaking nutty. It's they're paying for or they're trying to sponsor 40 individuals travel to Guatemala.
Oh my.
For their like volunteering and clinics. So like they're it's even at 60%, that's like $19,000 or something. So they just requested 14,000, and then the rest is for care packages.
Yeah.
I was confused because I checked on them. I was making sure that everyone had valid forms and stuff before I marked them as green, and they had 14,000 under travel, not including lodging. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, at least it's a higher impact. I've seen some people literally just request airfare for like 5 people.
Yeah,
like,
no, it's they're doing, and we're pretty good right now on budget. So
yeah.
Yeah.
32%,
I tried to keep it as balanced as I could earlier because the bigger appropriations are coming soon, which will kind of bump us up. But
yep,
we're averaging it. We're averaging it around where we need to be.
Yeah, and obviously it'll be higher where it is needed, but this looks good.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, the only ones that I underfunded slightly was Alpha Kappa Delta Phi, just because theirs wasn't the largest impact on the planet.
Yeah.
Men's club volleyball, because again, not the biggest. There's a pretty small impact, and comparatively to other sports teams that we've heard, not as like unique. And then those are the only ones that I funded under 50%. No, and then Quidditch. Theirs was like $2,000 for clothes.
What is a Quidditch club?
They play Quidditch.
Like the game
it's like
from
like the Harry Potter version. It's actually pretty fun to watch. It's like full contact.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's kind of it's pretty entertaining. But theirs was like $2,000 for clothes for uniforms. So
oh yeah, you basically funded everything else full. It's just that clothing.
I dropped because the other ones were more important overall.
Yeah.
So I funded the other ones for full and then dropped theirs the clothing down slightly because they said it wasn't as necessary. It would just be nice to have 2 uniforms per person.
Sounds good. We've been doing good. Surprisingly, even though I've been giving higher numbers, we've also had like so many no-shows that our committee's been well under budget the
Yeah,
last
well,
two.
the good news is even though I think we're slightly over the average that we want to be at right now, because Carolina Economics Club doesn't have
Plus
past
accounting's
treasurer
not
as a
there.
test, plus the accounting is not there, we'll be under. We should
Yeah.
still be under 50% total
And
allocation.
I'm not worried, yeah. But
No,
definitely
not either.
today's much more fiscal restraint. Like literally the last two meetings, I was able to give so much money because so many people did not show or they didn't have a treasurer. But
Yeah, no, I remember that one. That was
yeah. Plus the reconciliation was annoying because like the second meeting, yeah. But hey, at least people did the treasurer's test this time. Good on them. Squash should be here soon.
Yeah, they're currently not
Noah's
in
here.
there we go.
Noah's here.
Yeah.
Then the other guy, I
Okay.
think Charlie, he should be here soon.
Yeah. All right. Breakout room. Noah and Charlie. I'm going to stick you guys both into breakout room 2 for your subcommittee hearing. Isha and Nyatu, you guys both with signed states. Committee 1 will scooch you guys in as soon as they finish their current hearing.
Got it. Okay. So just 3 quick reminders before we begin. First, due to time constraints, please keep the presentations between 3 to 5 minutes long max. Second, we don't allow the use of visual aids like slideshows or screen sharing. And then finally, for this budgetary cycle, you can expect to receive about 45 to 50% of what your organization has requested. Other than that, you guys can begin when you're ready.
Cool. I'll just go first, and then if Charlie has anything to add, he will. So we represent the UNC Chapel Hill Squash Club, also known as Carolina Squash, and we're open to all UNC members, and we have a very active undergraduate and graduate student president, totaling about 70 people. Our ultimate goal is to help everyone, ranging from players like Charlie and I, who are more on the advanced level, to people who have never picked up a racket before, develop their squash game. And for more competitive players, we have competitive teams that travel to nationally sanctioned events. We actually hold the only women's team in the Southeast, and we're really working hard to have them attend matches and qualify for the national championship happening in the spring. So going into our funding amounts, we requested $1,460 to cover equipment costs such as rackets and balls. 10 dozen balls at $30, totals $300, and then $100 a racket for 11 rackets, would total $1,100. We requested $1,800 for clothing to cover the cost of uniforms for our traveling members. So generally we'll take 9 to 10 players to each tournament, and that will cover the cost of uniforms for them. We requested $2,000 in dues and fees because that's what will allow us to play in our CSA, College Squash Association sanctioned events, and become members of the CSA, which charge annual dues. We requested $1,890 for hotels because we anticipate 3 trips this semester. Those would be weekend trips, so Friday and Saturday nights. And so that's 6 nights of hotel rooms for 9 people. Our tentative locations are New York, Charlotte, and Charlottesville. And then we requested $5,657 for travel, which is going to include the cost of a charter bus to New York City, which would be for the girls team. Because there's only one girls team in the Southeast region, it's very tough to schedule matches in the area. So a lot of times we have to travel very long distances to get the girls to play. And it can be very costly. And then also we requested the $657 for trips to Washington, D.C. and Charlottesville, both with 3 cars each. Charlie, if you have anything to add, I would go for it.
I think you summed it up pretty well. Thank you, Noah.
Cool.
All right, thank you guys. With that, we'll go into the questioning period. If any senators have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, hey guys. Questions regarding travel. So the your car calculations are under what you were allowed to request for those.
Yeah, that's
I did the math. You guys, it comes out to total for both being able to be $910.80. There's 33 cents per mile per car. My other question is, could you elaborate on the price of the charter bus? Because that's a pretty, that's by far the most substantial request you guys are making individually, and there's not a lot of information on the total price, how you guys calculated, over $5,000 for a charter bus up to New York City and back.
Yeah. So we did that calculation based on what it cost last year to take a charter bus to Philadelphia. And that was roughly $5,800. And so we kind of looked at that and then looked at the mileage comparisons between Philadelphia and New York and thought they would be of similar price.
And then just one more question, just again harping on kind of the travel parts. Is there a reason why you do a charter bus for the New York trip and not for your trips to DC and Charlottesville?
Because New York is substantially further than Washington, D.C. I think it's about 2 times the driving amount, and that's a considerable amount to have 3 people drive on a single given day.
Also, there's much more access for people on the men's team to have cars to drive to those events, whereas on the women's team, there isn't the same level of access, so it's not as much of an option for them.
All right, thanks.
Thank you so much, Senator. Or sorry, Mr. Chair. With that, I just have one question for this. Where is it? Actually, I think he's covered most of it. Really, oh yeah, sorry. The impact. How did you calculate 70 individuals? It looks like there's I don't see the number of players being 70. So where did you get the impact from?
Yeah, so outside of our
they have 70 registered as individuals.
Like outside of the teams we field, both the competitive teams, we have members who are part of the organization and come and play squash within the club, and so they play more recreationally. And so we work with both competitive players, recreational players, and anyone who's kind of just interested in the sport to try and get them better. And so that's kind of what sums up to 70. So it would be like 20 competitive players plus the 50 who show up, practice, put in work, and try and get themselves better.
All right, thank you guys. With that, that's all the questions that I have then. So we can move into appropriations calculations now. So how this works is I'm going to take about a minute or two to calculate how much money we'll give you. Then when I'm ready, I'll make some motions. I'll let you guys know how much money you're getting, along with anything you need to know. But yeah, just stay in the meeting, like don't leave. And yeah, thank you for the presentation.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, I move to appropriate $832.20 for capital expenditures. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. I move to appropriate $826 for clothing. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. I move to appropriate $1,140 for dues and fees. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $1,077.30 for lodging. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. And I move to appropriate $2,798.72 for travel. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. So in total, you guys have been appropriated $6,674.22. Actually, three things to keep in mind. First, for travel, because we're taking chartered bus, that does require approval from the treasurer, I believe, and the finance chair before the money can be spent on it. So do keep that in mind and contact them when you're going to spend the money. Second, capital expenditures. That money will require heightened approval from the Senate. I believe 2/3 of the Senate, plus the treasurer has to approve that as well. So do keep in contact with them over those two line items. And then finally, this final amount is not the total amount that we're appropriating today is not the final amount. This could change depending upon the final budget act, which will be passed on September 26th, I believe. So keep an eye out on the Congress Finance website to see if this value does change, and keep that in mind when planning your operating expenses. Other than that, do you guys have any questions? Because I know it's a lot.
No questions.
Okay, then that is also. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good one.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
I'm gonna go grab Acts 2 and let them in if they're in fact willing to pass as their sponsor.
Yep, thanks.
Hey Evangelina. Before I scoot you into breakout room 2, which will be your hearing, per our records on your submission of the forum, you indicated that your group is unwilling to identify the Student Congress as its sponsor. Was that purposely done? Because we're actually not able to appropriate you money if that is the case.
No, I meant to check
Okay.
it. Yeah, we're
Totally
okay
good.
with-
This is all recorded, so I just needed that form of verification. All right, adding you in now.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. And then Amani, I'm assuming you are here for Campus Y?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
you'll
waiting
be
for my
you'll be
finance.
stuck into your breakout room soon.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah. All right. Bye.
Thank you.
It's three quick reminders. First, due to time constraints, we're going to keep presentations between 3 to 5 minutes max. Second, we don't allow the use of visual aids like screen sharing or slideshows. And finally, for this budgetary cycle, you can expect to receive about 45 to 50% of what your organization has requested. With that in mind, you guys can begin when you're ready.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for meeting with me to discuss a budget request for Acts 2 Fellowship. My name is Evangelina Dong, and I'm the treasurer for Acts 2 Fellowship. We're a Christian fellowship and organization on campus, and our funding request is for a building and venue rentals, as well as printing and publicity. So we're requesting $5,000 for building and venue rentals. This money would cover reimbursement for our Welcome Night event that happened at the beginning of the semester, which was held at the Stone Center, which costs $1,000 to rent. We plan to use the Stone Center 3 to 4 more times, which this request would cover, which also includes an upcoming event we already have scheduled with Neil Shenvi on September the 20th, that we also plan on holding at the Stone Center as well. Additionally, we hold outdoor sports nights at Hooker Fields, which cost $30 to reserve the soccer field, and Rams Head Gym. And reserving their open gym area costs around $60, which we plan to hold 10 different sports events this fall semester. For printing and publicity, we're requesting $2,500. This money would reimburse flyers, posters, banners, and A-frames that we printed, handed out, and set up during Welcome Week, which we spent $500 already on. And flyers and A-frames cost around 300 per event, and we'd want to advertise for 5 large events this semester. I really appreciate your support and consideration. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for the presentation. We'll now move into questions. So does any senators have any questions?
Yes, I have a couple regarding the printing and publicity. Two main comments. For any job over $100, which seems like most of your printing jobs, per the student code, you are required to present at least 2 bids from like 2 different printing services or whatever. And then you have to take like the lower one. I just wanted to like make sure that you guys were kind of aware of that for your expenditures.
Okay.
My other question, or I guess comment, is it is required that any paper printed using student fees must contain at least 30% post-consumer recycled paper. So like again, if you've done any printing already that you're aiming to get reimbursed for or plan to do it in the future, that's just kind of something that you know, I was wondering if you could keep an eye out for, just to be sure that that's met.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have really one question. Of the different events that you have, like your Welcome Week events and whatnot, well, actually, first, are these Welcome Week events for next year? Or are these reimbursing, which you've already done?
Reimbursing from the beginning of this semester, like the first week of this semester.
Okay, unfortunately, we cannot fund retroactively like reimbursements for things that already been bought, to my understanding, unless ethics chair Brooke wants to correct me. But
yeah, keep talking. Let me double check on that.
yeah, but from my understanding, they cannot be funded retroactively. So just keep that in mind. Other than that, that was really the only question that I had. So yeah, so thank you. With that in mind, we'll do appropriations calculations. I'll also wait, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, clarification was that is correct. So theoretically, that means that if you guys have already done your Stone Center renting out and then your printing for Week of Welcome, that's about $1,000 in building venue rental and $1,000 in printing and publicity that we are unable to fund.
Okay.
However, that's, you know, it'll still be pretty well within your total allocated anyways. I doubt it'll impact how much money you got.
Yeah, because obviously our budget's still 50% of what you're requesting. So
Mhm, mhm.
yeah, but that's just something to keep in mind. And also that
Right.
means for the money you're dispersed, you can't spend it for that reimbursement. But
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you.
that's just the rules impacting us. But yeah, so going to appropriations calculations. How this will work, I'm just gonna take a minute or two to calculate how much I'm giving you guys. Then I'll make some motions when I'm ready. After that, I'll let you know how much we've appropriated to you, along with any additional info you need to know. But other than that, thank you for the presentation.
Okay,
Oh yeah,
thank
just
you.
stay in the room while I'm calculating. Don't leave.
Okay. Thank you.
I move to appropriate $2,750 in building venue rental. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. And I move to appropriate $1,275 in printing and publicity. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, so In total, you've been appropriated $4,025, about 53% of what you requested. Again, keep in mind those things we said about the limits on reimbursing, which you've already paid for. Other than that, this is not a final value. The Senate will pass a final budget act, I believe, on September 26th. So keep an eye out on the Congress Finance website for if the final value from the Senate. Other than that, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
All right.
I'd again just like to echo really quickly before you do any of your printing job request for reimbursement, just make sure you double check the code outlines on that. So you have to, get like a quote from 2 different agencies for printing, show that you took the lower one, and then make sure you're printing with at least 33% recycled paper, or that requires much higher approval.
Yeah, the treasurer will have to, that's something the treasurer will enforce, so we just want to make sure that you know this. So with that said, if you don't have any questions, then thank you so much for your time. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too.
I'm gonna grab the future business leader people, Josh. That does. I think that's the treasurer, so we're good. All right. Hello, hello, hello. Kundana, did I say that correctly?
Yeah.
All
Can you
right,
hear me?
perfect. Yes, I can hear you. I'm gonna scoot you into breakout room 2, which is subcommittee 2, and we're gonna hear your case. Thanks for
Sounds
being
good.
here.
Yep.
And is anyone else coming, or is it just you?
I think it's just me.
All right, perfect. And then Anna, are you with the Carolina Film Association?
That's right.
All right. Subcommittee 1 is finishing up their current hearing. Actually, they just finished it, so I think they'll take you in 1 second.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Treasurer of FBLA?
Yes.
Great.
Oh, Josh, have you asked them about, I forgot to ask them in the main
in the
group
Student
about the
Congress.
Student Congress?
Yeah, before we proceed, on the form, it says you guys are unwilling to identify the Student Congress as its sponsor. Are you guys amenable to doing that? Because that's a requirement for the funding.
Sorry, can you say that again? My audio thing's cutting off.
Yeah, on your form, it just said that you were unwilling to identify the Student Congress as its sponsor for receiving the money. That's a prerequisite to receiving money in the first place. So would you be amenable to doing that in compliance with it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, great. Perfect. So with that in mind, just 3 quick reminders. First, please keep the presentations between 3 to 5 minutes long maximum for time constraints. Second, we don't allow the use of visual aids like slideshows or screen sharing. And then finally, for this budget cycle, you can expect to receive about 45% of what your organization has requested. With that in mind, you can begin when you're ready.
Sounds good. So hi all, I'm from FBLA, and we're basically an organization that helps support individuals with leadership and professional development opportunities to kind of enhance their business and interpersonal skill sets. This semester, we're requesting funding for 3 kind of main categories. The first one is general funding. So we're expecting to have 5 meetings. For 3 of these meetings, we're expecting to invite 3 speakers, totaling around 1.5K in honoraria. So we're hoping each speaker to receive $500. And we're also requesting $500 in programming and $125 for printing and publicity. So just determined by the maximum rate of $25 per meeting for 5 meetings. And kind of with all these events, we're estimating that around 500 students will be kind of impacted by our endeavors. The main event, main conference for this semester is the Fall Career Connections Conference. And this is replacing the previous FLDC, or the Fall Leadership Development Conference in Greensboro. This was a conference where multiple chapters that are parts of NC-FBLA Collegiate could come together and network with each other. The CCC is replacing this, and it's now a national conference. So basically, FBLA collegiate chapters from all over the country are going to come and convene at this conference, and there are going to be a lot more professional development opportunities, such as case study competitions, resume reviews. That's going to be really important for our members, and historically, a lot of our first and second year members find the FLDC to be really helpful for them in terms of gaining new skills and something to put down in their business school application. So we're expecting to see kind of the same levels, if not more enthusiasm for the CCC. We are requesting around 3K for registration, and that's because we're expecting dues to be around $75, and we're expecting around 40 members to be interested in this. For travel, we're requesting around $917.40, and that's because we're expecting to have around 10 drivers, and then a round trip from UNC to Charlotte's estimated to be around 278 miles. In terms of lodging, we're requesting a maximum of $35 per night per student for 2 nights, and that's for 40 students. That's totaling around 2.8K. And with sufficient funding, we're hoping that students from all socioeconomic backgrounds will have a chance to participate in the conference. Our last kind of category is headshots for LinkedIn, and this is just help kind of first year students start to develop a professional kind of presence online, but also to give our upper class students a chance to revamp their headshots and LinkedIn since we are in the midst of recruiting. And for this, we're requesting around $656.25.
All right, thank you. We'll now move to questions. If any senators have any questions, you guys may ask now.
One main question. How do you guys estimate your total impact at 500 individuals? And also, you have 400 people registered as part of your organization, at least on the congressional website. Is that correct, or is it 100?
So we have around 100 students paying, like dues paying students, and then around 300 other students. These are students who don't necessarily pay dues, but also have access to the events on the club. I'm not too sure where the 500 individuals are coming, especially on the impact category. From what I last checked, it should be around 400. So I'm not too sure what that 500 is here, but from what I also know, it's just 100 dues paying students and then 300 other students.
All right, thank you. That's all I have.
Yeah, my question was related to that sort of two of them actually. First, for the 300 others, are these like people that would attend events, or are these actually members of the club? They're the non-due paying people.
These are probably going to be your non-due paying people. So individuals who are here just to experience the events that are put on the club.
Got it. Thank you. And then the other question I had was, of all your identified expenditures, what would you identify as the most vital to the operation of your organization?
Do you mean in like the general funding category or
It can be events, or it can be the funding category is up to you.
okay, so I guess in terms of events, I guess the most important one would definitely be the CCC or the Career Connections Conference, just because a lot of students have shown interest in this. So I don't know if that answers the question, but in terms of the categories we have here, the registration, travel, and lodging would definitely be the main ones that we are kind of advocating for here.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep.
One moment. Sorry about that. All right. So with that, we'll move to appropriation calculations. How this will work is I'm gonna take about a minute or two to do the calculation, make sure all the values are correct. Then when I'm finished, I'll do the motion. After that, I'll let you know how much money you're receiving, along with any additional information you need to know. So just sit tight in the meeting, don't leave, and I'll be with you in a moment. Thank you. All right, I move to appropriate $1,800 in dues and fees. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. I move to appropriate $330 in labor fees. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. I move to appropriate $1,680 in lodging. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $62.50 in printing and publicity. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $250 in programming. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $750 in speaker fees. Do I hear a second?
So moved. Mixing it up. Oh.
Thank you. And I move to appropriate $550.44 in travel fees. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. With that, the total appropriation is $5,422.94. One thing to keep in mind will be this is not the final amount. The Senate passes a final budget act, I believe, on September 26th. So keep an eye out around that time period on the Congress Finance website, as the value could change. Other than that, and keep that in mind when planning your operational expenses. Other than that, do you have any questions?
I think I'm good on my end. Thank you so much.
All right, perfect. Thanks so much. Have a good one.
You too.
I'm gonna go grab the quant finance group.
Sounds good.
Cindy and Dia, you guys are both part of quant finance.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna switch you guys into breakout room 2. That's where subcommittee 2 is. That's where we'll hear your hearing. Thank you guys for coming. And here we go. Then, Georgia, you're for blank canvas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You're here a tad early, so you're gonna have to like sit tight for the next probably 8 to 10 minutes until Finance Chair Forbes scooches you into breakout room 1.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Minutes long maximum. Second, we don't allow the use of visual aids like slideshows or screen sharing for the same reason. And finally, for this budgetary cycle, you can expect to receive about 45 to 50% of what your organization has requested. With that in mind, you guys can begin when you're ready.
Okay, I'll just give a brief introduction to start. The Quantitative Finance Association is dedicated to professional development of people interested in careers in quant. We have 58 members on HealLife currently, but we expect that number to increase as we continue publicizing the club because we have around 150 people in the GroupMe. We cater to many majors, not just finance, including computer science, business, math, and physics. So it's very STEM concentrated and can appeal to a lot of STEM majors. One of our primary objectives is to make the field of quantitative finance more accessible to students, as it is an increasingly popular field, but not many people know a lot about it or what it entails. And some people don't even know that we have a quantitative finance major here at UNC. We're also the only UNC student organization that addresses quantitative finance at all. We started this club at the very end of last semester, so since it's still relatively new, we are requesting funding for printing and publicity to get the word out and to let as many people know about this club. So that could go towards things like flyers and merch that we could hand out to people. We're also requesting funding under clothing for t-shirts for our club members, which is a way to spread publicity. And we're estimating that each t-shirt will be around $10 to $15. And lastly, we're requesting funding for supplies for socials and activities, since we do want to keep the social aspect of the club and allow members to have fun with one another and just connect with other people that are interested in quant.
All right, thank you guys. We can now move to the questioning period. So if any senators have any questions, you guys may feel free to ask now.
I'm just gonna echo my continuous printer questions. Have you read over specifically the student code's rules for printing jobs? Specifically the fact that if you do one job of over $100, it's required that you get like quotes or bids from 2 different printing services, submit them, and then choose the lower one. And then also regarding the fact that 30% of the or the paper must be like 30% post-consumer recycled paper if you use student government funds for that.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have print jobs that go over $100, but I will keep that in mind.
Great, thank
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. My questions would largely just focus on the clothing as that's your largest expenditure. Mainly, to what extent do you know that the material, the clothing, would be sustainable? Either would you reuse it or the material itself sustainable?
Like, are you asking about the material of the t-shirts themselves?
Yeah, I was asking either is the material sustainable, like is it recycled materials, or are you guys planning on reusing these shirts? Either one is what I was saying.
We're still looking around for companies because what we're doing right now is we're seeing if any company will sponsor our shirts so that we could like print their name on the shirt and then have it like given to us like for a discount. But most of the websites we're looking at have mostly we're looking at cotton shirts, like just a regular t-shirt.
Got it. Thank you. Would the sponsors dictate the material of the shirt in any way, or no?
No, I think it would just be what's listed on their
Name.
website.
Got it. Great. Okay. Thank you. With that, we'll now move into the appropriation calculation phase. So I will be taking about a minute or two to calculate it. You guys can just sit tight in this room. Do not leave. Once I finish, I'll make some motions, and then I will let you know how much money you've been appropriated, along with any additional information that you need to know. But thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
I move to appropriate $500 in clothing. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. I move to appropriate $180 in printing and publicity. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. And I move to appropriate $200 in supplies. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. So in total, you have been appropriated $880. What as stated, if your printing has if you have large printing jobs, keep that in mind, those rules. Also, this is not a final amount. The Senate passes a budget act, the final budget act on September 26th, I believe. So keep an eye out on this website, the Congress Finance website, to see if the value changes, and keep that in mind when planning your operational expenses. Other than that, do you guys have any questions?
I don't have any questions.
All right, then. Thank you so much for the presentation. Have a good one.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna go grab Vita. They also have the unwilling to identify, so I'll double check with them on that before I stick them in.
Got it.
Am I free to leave then?
Yeah, you guys can leave.
If they say no, I just will not put them in. But...
Yeah.
All right. Jessica Cook, you're here for Vita, and then Luke as well. Really quick before I add you guys to breakout room 2, which is where subcommittee 2 is holding its meetings. On our records of your forms, you indicated that your group is unwilling to identify the Student Congress as its sponsor. That is a requirement for our funding. So are you willing to possibly change that stance?
Yes, you can go ahead and change it.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much. I'm going to scoot you guys in now. Claire, are you here for, what are you here for?
I'm here for blank canvas. I'm texting my treasurer now. I don't know if they said they pulled her. I'm trying to
Okay,
figure out.
yeah, I imagine she's in. Let me double check. Oh wait, huh, she's not anywhere right now. Well, why don't I add you to breakout room 1 at the moment?
Okay.
And then you need your treasurer if she's the only person who's submitted the treasurer's test. But
Yes.
I can add you in and you can talk to Finance Chair Forbes about that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
To either Costa Rica or Guatemala each year to work in different clinics. There is a medical clinic, a dental clinic, and a veterinary clinic. And pretty much it's a super unique opportunity for anyone to do. Like in the medical clinics, people are able to work with different patients. We're able to take vitals, intake forms, and do examinations. A lot of which is something that we can't do here in the States. Just it's a super unique opportunity. And like the dental program, people are able to do different examinations, provide or administer anesthesia, pull teeth, things like that. And so as a club here, we do a lot of outreach to try and get more people to sign up for these clinics. And then we all do a trip each year, each summer, to go volunteer in these underserved communities. Anyone is able to sign up for the volunteering. It's kind of geared, not geared, but like it helps people who are pre-med or pre-PA or pre-dental get those clinical hours and that experience. And it's a really life-changing experience for them. But anyone can sign up too if they just want to volunteer somehow, or if they want to just go to Costa Rica and see these different like rural communities that we work with. And then this year, we're also trying to expand and do more service from here. We're doing a service project where we basically make care packages to send to either Costa Rica or Guatemala in these communities that we would then volunteer in. And those care packages would have things like bandages or toothpaste, toothbrushes, and things like that. Right now, we're still working on our recruitment. Right now, we are at about 75 people on our interest list, which is 30 more people than this time last year. And then last year, we had about 180 people on our interest list, and we sent 40 people onto the trip. And the money that we're asking for is pretty much to help send people on the trip because it is pretty expensive. And we don't want money to be an obstacle in that.
And the funds would go towards the flights. Last year, we were able to cover 60% of flights for about 10 students with the funds. And then we also requested funds to help pay for the materials that would go into the care packages.
All right, thank you guys. We'll now move into the questioning period. So if any senators have any questions, you guys may ask now.
Hey, y'all. My one kind of question is, you talked about how, like I understand the point of traveling for like actually impacting communities that typically don't have access to, proper amounts of healthcare. One of the things you also cited is that people will be able to like interact with patients in the ways that they're unable to in the US. Why particularly is that? Like, what's the difference?
So in the US, especially with COVID, it's hard to get into clinics to volunteer, and there's a lot of laws and regulations that prohibit people without like a medical degree or a nursing degree to have the hands-on experience. So in these communities in Central America, the students basically get to ask the patients questions. We get to form our own diagnosis, our own treatment, and then we just have a doctor to check over. The dental students get to administer shots, help pull teeth, and the veterinary students get to like full on help out with the spays and neuters. Medical students also, we get to do like blood glucose tests and urinalysis, and all of those things you just can't really do in America, even if you're trained, because there are just laws that you need certifications to be able to do those things. And in these communities, you don't need the certifications. They teach you on the job, basically.
Cool. Thanks.
All right, I do not have any questions, so we'll just move directly into the appropriations calculations phase. So how this will work, I'm going to take a minute or two to calculate it. You guys should just stay in the meeting, like do not leave. Once I finish, I'll make some motions. Then I'll let you know how much we're appropriating to you guys, along with any additional info that you need to know. But thank you for the presentation, and I'll be with you in a moment. I move to appropriate $800 in programming. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. And I move to appropriate $7,100 in travel. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. So with that, your total appropriation is $7,900. So two things to keep in mind. First, for airfare, obviously one of the big restrictions in student law is that you must look for the cheapest airfare possible. The treasurer also go over that when he does the disbursement. That's a big thing they'll be enforcing. So keep that in mind. And second, this is not a final amount. The final amount will be determined at the Senate Budget Act. In the Senate Budget Act, which we passed, I believe, September 26th. So keep an eye out on the Congress Finance website for that. This value should not change too much, but keep that in mind when you're planning your operational expenses. Other than that, do you guys have any questions?
I don't think so.
Perfect. Then thanks so much for your time, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.
All right, Josh. Next is the Econ Club, which are the ones who didn't pass the test. I don't see them in the room yet, but if they do, I'll go and just tell them there.
Yeah.
And recommend they apply for subsequent funding.
Yeah, they might come at 10 exact, so.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. They'll probably show up roughly on time, and I'll just go.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Hey, y'all. It's rough.
We got three more expensive ones, it looks like.
Yeah,
Cadence,
the Cadence, Vietnamese, and then Halal.
Halal. Yep.
What's super expensive about?
If we grant them at about half
Supplies.
plus the other ones, we should be roughly at budget, like 51%.
We grant all the following big ones half?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we should be fine. But I will, yeah. And then the small ones are easy. Like I'm pretty sure Forbes has been giving full if you're
He's
under
been giving
1,000.
full to ones that are under 1,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just run that.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I wouldn't be
like Circle
too
K.
concerned about them.
Yeah, no, it's definitely fine. But we'll keep
Yeah,
the rest.
Circle K, give them full. And then
the
rest
are
of
all
them
gone.
try to keep it about 50.
Yep.
Damn. The Vietnamese Student Association has their line items are just ridiculous.
In
It's like not a lot for any individual thing, but if you look at their specifics, they've went through and calculated every single thing, which is impressive, but it's a lot of numbers.
Oh yeah. I definitely respect it though. It's very annoying when people just do not even make any effort to do that.
Yeah, I agree.
And then that it also hurts their own funding because we can't fund them if they're too vague.
Yeah.
But
it looks like we might just not have
them come.
Which, yeah, solves the problem of having to tell them they can't get money.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. They might have realized and then it's not showed up. A lot of people did that before.
Well, they have on their form submission, one of their fun little miscellaneous is this group does not have a certified treasurer,
Love that.
which means they marked that
Yeah, so then they
on their
definitely know.
own thing, which is a little bit strange.
Very interesting. I will start marking that as $0.
Okay, so right.
Do we make exceptions for groups that we're not able to attend, if you know? I mean, it's out of my
So
hands, but
it depends. Almost exclusively no.
okay. Yeah, because
But
it's that
if they notify us like a while ahead of time and
yeah.
we didn't move them to another one, then yes, but that Logan and Forbes are too good for that. So yeah, if
Yeah.
they don't show up and they didn't tell us that they don't show up, it's
Got it.
subsequent
Okay.
funding. Yeah.
Okay, because it's I mean it's out of my hand. That's the chairs thing. Was a big group asked about it. They said there was like unforeseen circumstances. So just wondering.
Which organization?
Black Student Movement.
Oh.
Yeah, so they want to meet with Logan and Andrew, and I think the student advisor.
Yeah, that had to be a big request.
Full 50,000, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we had so much in reconciliation money yesterday. And so I
Oh
was like,
shoot, you're right.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah,
why
that's gonna be right, yeah. I don't know, for organizations that large, it gets tricky, but I don't know enough about full finance meeting rules to know if we can
yeah.
like what they might do if they meet before Thursday is just throw them into a Thursday slot.
Okay, I mean they're huge, 500 people. There's no way we can't just fund them.
Yeah, no, they're one of the biggest.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But we'll see. Yeah, I'm just curious. I'm like,
Yeah.
these are the kind of hard decisions we make. It sucks.
Logan will figure that out. Logan's good at stuff.
Yeah. Interesting. And, low like Andrew in the immediate email, he shut it down, but then Logan offered to have a meeting. So I'll be very curious to see what happens with that.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Maybe they'll come up on the 914 one.
I hope. Otherwise, they're getting like $1,500.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, looking at Friday, oh my. Yeah, our clubs for committee two are requesting way more than committee one.
On Friday?
Yeah. I said Thursday, I mean.
Thursday, yeah.
It's probably gonna go to committee one. But yeah, no, I mean,
Ooh, yeah, you're right. We're beating them out by like 50 grand.
yeah, it's 50, 60. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can handle that or they can take some of the load, but
Fingers crossed.
very
Okay.
crazy.
Women's club soccer, 15. Undergraduate, 15. I appreciate the Hindu Yuvas of 14,955.
173, yep.
Or Global Studies Student Association of 14,990. They're trying to 999 us.
Right under.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of big requests.
Oh, definitely.
Huh.
And some of them are surprising too. Like a lot of the sports teams I never imagined are this costly. Like especially like Dan's team, the one we did on what was that? Saturday.
Mhm.
That's just
Well, we
crazy.
had one earlier today, which was Tall. They requested 13,000. I appropriated them 6,800. But it's like a lot of it's venues and then maximum costume appropriations and stuff.
Yeah, costume instructors, all that.
Yeah, travel because they're competitive.
Yeah,
And they're pretty unique, so
definitely.
gave them a bit of a benefit.
Yeah. So after this, are we moving into subsequent?
After we finish this cycle,
Yeah. No, I mean after the
yeah,
914 meeting.
yeah, after 914, I don't know exactly what the schedule for subsequent is this year. I've not been too involved with planning finance stuff.
Okay.
But
You
yeah,
know,
we'll move into subsequent.
do you know how many clubs are requesting for subsequent?
No clue. I can text Logan and ask, but it's always a lot less. It's mainly
Historically,
organizations that forgot to,
yeah.
or didn't pass the test in time.
Historically, is it significantly less than budgetary?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It'll be a lot less. Like the budgetary cycles are the main all hands on deck ones. It'll ease off for subsequent significantly.
And after that was that food cycle?
Yeah, yeah, a couple of those, and then we refresh in the spring. But after this one's done, it's significantly less work.
You know, this
Kind of backs down to the normal level of committee involvement.
yeah, last 4 meetings have been hell week. But we are
So Circle
persevering.
K is here. So just in the spirit of staying ahead of time,
Yeah, we can definitely have him
because
in.
it feels nice. I'm gonna go stick him in.
For sure, for sure. And we can even take air power for on time.
Yeah, I'll text Forbes about that, depending on our
Because we're 10
schedule in the
minutes
future.
ahead of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
Are you Gabriella?
Yes, it's me.
All right, perfect. I'm going to stick you into breakout room 2.
Okay.
That is where we're holding our subsequent second subcommittee, and then we'll hear you promptly.
Okay, thank you. And there actually should be a couple more members of my club who are going to be here. Can they be put in the same breakout room?
Yes, of course. What are their names?
Bryce Polson and Reese Mahoney.
Okay. Yeah, I'll stick them in as soon as they show up.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Let me scooch you in. Okay. Hey, are you guys with Young Democrats?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Committee 1 is currently still holding their hearing, so
No worries.
Chair Forbes should stick you in pretty soon. Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you mind if I wait just 20 seconds for the members of my club to join in?
I'll stick them in when they show up.
Oh, okay, just go ahead.
You
Okay.
were well, no, you can also wait if you need to. We're 2 minutes out of schedule.
Yeah, no, you have plenty of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are their names?
Reese Mahoney and Bryce Polson.
Okay.
Reese is the president, correct?
Yes.
All right, Reese is being scooched into the breakout room now. Which means we're just waiting on Bryce.
We can go ahead and just start.
Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay. Hey, Reese.
Hello,
All
hello.
right. So, hello, Undergraduate Senate. My name is Gabrielle Chachin, and this is Reese Mahoney, and I'm the treasurer and she's the president of Circle K International at UNC. Circle K International is an organization under the umbrella of Kiwanis International, and some of you may be familiar with Key Club, which is the high school version under the organization. And so to summarize, Circle K International UNC, we are a collection of UNC students who are making a positive impact in our community through volunteering. Our tenets are service, leadership, fellowship, and our motto is live to serve, love to serve. We have 30 due-paying members, but have generated new interest at SmallFest and through our publicity efforts. We are expecting to increase our due-paying members by 15 this semester, which increases membership to 45. And this year we have an executive board team very committed to growing our club and making the semester rewarding for our members and the organizations we help. So in total, we are asking for $600 in funds for Circle K this semester. My written budget request breaks these costs down further, but I'm going to go ahead and give a small overview of those costs. For our programming, we hold social events with a service element. For example, we build fellowship by volunteering to make dog toys, no-sew blankets, and cards for those in need. And to host these events, we are requesting $270. These events are important to us as a club because this is how we help provide our members with opportunities to volunteer on campus and as an entire club. And we also need $150 for printing and publicity. We would use these to help gain new members and promote our fundraisers. Circle K has fundraisers to raise money for Porch, Ronald McDonald House, Note in the Pocket, Table, just to name a few of the organizations we help. And for supplies, we're requesting $30 for 3 storage bins to help collect supplies for charity. And we are finally just requesting $200 from the Undergraduate Senate to help us cover transportation costs. For example, the Porch location to be a food sort volunteer is a 14-minute drive off campus. We don't want lack of transportation or price of gas to be a barrier that prevents our members from being able to volunteer. We would use this money to reimburse drivers who are able to drive themselves or carpool other members. A small portion would be allocated to pay for Uber, taxi, or bus fees if there are no available drivers. Thank you so much for your time. Do you have any questions regarding our request?
Two comments regarding finance pieces. For printing and stuff, I imagine that you guys won't be doing any printing jobs over $100 at one time. If you do, there are specific rules, but again, I figure that's not a problem. Otherwise, we ask that you use paper that's at least 30% made of post-consumer recycled materials. Otherwise, that requires a higher approval from the full Senate. My only other thing is, have you read over the specific rules for driver reimbursement in terms of gas?
Yes, so it's only a certain amount.
Yes, it's like it's based on the miles traveled. All right, perfect.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no questions, just echoing what he said. These laws are not really enforced by us. We're just telling you, as the treasurer will be for disbursements, keep these in mind. But with that said, we will be moving into appropriations calculations. So how this will work is I'm going to take about a minute to calculate how much you guys have been appropriated. After that's done, I will make some motions. Then I will let you know how much you know appropriated, along with any additional info that you need to know that's not already been said. But yeah, just stay in the meeting, like do not leave. And yeah, thank you for the presentation. All right, I move to appropriate $150 in printing and publicity. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. I move to appropriate $270 in programming. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. I move to appropriate $30 in supplies. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. And I move to appropriate $150 in travel. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. In total, you've been appropriated $600. One thing to keep in mind, this is not the final amount. The Senate passes a budget act on September 26th, I believe. Keep an eye out on the Congress Finance website, as this value could change a bit. Probably won't. With that said, you keep that in mind when planning your operational expenses. And do you have any questions?
No, yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Yep. Have a good one.
You too.
Thank you.
What's next? Cadence.
Yep.
I don't see anyone in the full room yet who's part of the organization, but I'll go away. Hi, Zoe. What organization are you with?
Hi, I'm currently trying to change my name. I'm with the Carolina Indian Circle.
Okay, perfect. That's what I thought. Breakout room 1 is currently still in the midst of their previous finance hearing. They should be done within the next couple of minutes, and Chair Forbes will move you in.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
I will, however, lurk here until the person who's supposed to be in my subcommittee joins.
Okay.
Hi, Julia. You're with Cadence, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You cool if I stick you into your hearing, or are you waiting on anyone?
One second. I just want to pull up the funding request.
Yeah.
Nice.
No worries. I'll put you in, but there's no rush to start anyways. You've got a couple of minutes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Best of luck with your hearing.
Thank you.
You're the treasurer, never mind.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
I just want to pull up the funding request if that's okay.
No, that's fine. Oh, wait, are you trying to screen share?
No.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Just making sure. Yeah,
You
as
know, you're
three,
good, you're good. No, I was confused, sorry.
yeah. Three quick reminders before we begin. First, due to time constraints, please keep the presentation between 3 to 5 minutes max. Second, also due to time constraints, we don't allow the use of visual aids like screen sharing or slideshows. And then finally, for this budgetary cycle, you can expect to receive about 45 to 50% of what an organization is requesting. With that in mind, you can begin whenever you're ready.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to find the email that was
That's fine. Take your time.
um I'll just pull up. Okay, I believe this is what I have. Damn. Okay, yeah. All right. So I'm pretty sure what we, you know, let me pull up. I thought I had it up. I'm so sorry.
If it's of any help, if you visit the Congress Finance website, you can click on your organization's name and view what you guys submitted.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
yeah.
can send the link if you need.
Thank you. All right, wait, this should be. Oh, okay, I think I have it up. I have it up on a separate spreadsheet I made. Okay.
Okay.
I believe we asked for $9,000 for capital expenditures, which includes sound, which is usually around $2,500. According to my notes and also the notes of the previous treasurer. Recording is $3,000 and our special project is $3,500. And just as like a general background, I'm so sorry, I'm very flustered. Cadence is an a cappella group, all femme presenting, and we do a lot of community service events within our general Carolina community and then also a bit outside. So like last year we held a benefit concert where we invited Ione. She's actually amazing. I would go visit her on Spotify if you can. But she came and we opened for her, and we also like had this event so we could donate to local charities in the area. And so like this is just an example of like one of the really cool like community service things that we do as an organization. And so for that, like another part of our capital expenditures, which I put as $9,000, I believe, is our special project, which is $3,500. And that's usually it usually goes to something like that. So actually this year we're planning on using it towards kind of continuing the idea of the benefit concert from last year, but using that money from the special project to like go toward like something we're gonna call like I'll call like Cadence for a Cause. And we're still planning out the details of that, but whether that's like holding a riff off with another group or doing something for the holiday season, just to like give back to the community because that's a huge part of our club. And then another thing is printing and publicity, $300, programming, which includes photography and videography for a concert. That's $1,000. Another thing we do is a concert every single semester. So that's where a lot of this comes in, like sound and recording, photography, videography, all of that's like to promote the group and also use it as a way to improve our outreach to the community. And then we also, I believe I put $500 for equipment as well. And currently, like some things that we have to pay off are recording from last semester. So that's around like $1,000 or more like $2,000. And then also a building rental. So that's kind of some of the things that we are planning to do. And yeah, that should be pretty synonymous to what I submitted for the budget, which I couldn't find, but that's what my notes say. Yeah.
Couple
All right.
questions.
Yeah,
or
if you have
comments
questions, go ahead. Yeah.
that I'm sure Finance Vice Chair Josh was also going to ask regarding some of the things. We can't retroactively fund anything. So the stuff that you bought or spent money on last semester, we can't fund. This
Okay, that's
shouldn't
fine.
really affect your total cost anyways, because we're
Yeah.
funding around 50%, so I wouldn't be too concerned.
Right.
My main question was for your special project, where does kind of like the $3,500 come from, right? Because I know you guys said that you're not totally certain what it's going to be yet. You know, what's like, I guess, what's the
Right.
idea behind that number?
Yeah, of course. So last year, a lot of these numbers are based off of what we spent last year, and also information that I got from the previous treasurer. So I mean, I personally, I don't know 100% like um her like exactly what we spent for the special project last year, but I will say like from what she said, like especially when it came to flying Ione out and housing her and also like all of those costs and then getting a venue for the actual benefit concert, which helped three different organizations like promoting women. So that's kind of like a huge part of where the money went toward. So if we're planning to do something similar to that or multiple events for like this thing we're gonna kind of phrase like Cadence for a Cause, that's likely where it will come into play.
Cool, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah, I just had two questions. Number one, for your capital expenditures, why, what exactly are you buying? Like that 3,500 for the project? Are these like, is these for the events and the venues?
Yeah, so these are for the events. So we need to pay for sound, and then we also need to pay well, if we plan to like well for like the actual recording, like we that's also another part of our group. We go and record. Sorry, I didn't explain that right. We go and record like a bunch of songs that we do. So like for example, recording is like we will pick a few songs from our set and record them at a studio, like at Liquid Fifth, let's say. Like that's what we've done in the past. So that's like kind of where that comes into play, if that makes sense.
Okay, so the capital expenditures is the light, sound, and the arrangements with Liquid Fifth.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. Uh yeah, and so that's that, but I'm a little confused just how that adds up to $11,375 in capital expenditures. Because ignoring
Okay.
the 2,000 in the reimbursement, there's still like 6,000 remaining.
Right. So I think what I will say is I think I'm messed up maybe because I included stuff from last semester. So that's probably where it comes in. I have a lower number on my spreadsheet, but I think I added in the stuff from previous semester. So that's kind of what you were explaining before, how that's like not going to be included. So that's
Yeah.
probably where it comes from.
Okay, I see.
Yeah,
So the
math-wise, about $2,000 off of capital expenditures.
Right, exactly. So that's probably because
including
my
the last
right,
year's last
my
year's
number on my
expense.
spreadsheet is like 9,000. So if we're just talking about this semester, it would be like $2,000 less.
No,
So that's
I
where that number comes into play.
So even excluding last semesters, you're
Yeah.
still about 2,000 off. So the
Yeah.
summations of your budget description sum to about $9,875, including last year's 1,875.
Okay.
So would you rather be funded? Like, do you mean to be funded at like 7,000 something?
You know, because
maybe.
the
Oh
thing
yeah.
is,
Yes. That makes more sense actually. Sorry, I heard 11,000. I don't know.
no,
I heard
because on
11,000
our end
last
it
year.
says you have 11,375 requested in capital expenditures.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So probably like if you subtract the Liquid Fifth recording and also the building rental. When I say like building rental, that's kind of was part of last semester's special project. Again, I wasn't the treasurer last semester, so I'm not sure like how last semester's money was spent versus like what we need now. But this was the information I was told by our previous treasurer.
I think, Josh, we funded 7,000 with the budget description.
Yeah, okay.
Because that's just what itemized from.
No, I just want to be clear. Are there two set? Yeah, I don't know. I just want to make sure I'm getting it right.
Yeah.
So I know 3,500 sound, lights, and Liquid
Mhm.
Fit. Is there two of those, or is it just one of those investments?
So I think actually this like maybe part of the sound is, sorry, I don't have the actual like thing that I submitted open to you guys. I'm sorry about that. But I believe that the
The vice
liquid
chair
fifth.
will have sent a link in the chat. If you click on that, you can find what you
Yeah.
submitted.
Oh, perfect. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay. I think what just for time's sake, what we can do is we'll assume that 3,500 is the capital expenditures. How much did you say is the building venue rental? That's not a reimbursement.
That in my notes was 700.
Okay. So one thing is capital expenditures come with a host of different like requirements, and building venue rental wouldn't be included in capital expenditures.
Okay.
That's like its own category. So what we can do is a line item change where we'll categorize it as that. I can't manually change it, so that would be I'm punting it down the road for the treasurer, but I'll keep a note for him basically. But
Okay.
would you be okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine. That's okay.
Okay, cool. So I will note that down. But yeah, you can look through the site and let me know if there's any issues
Yeah.
with the, I don't know if you can see it right now. In the meantime, to save time while you look at that, I'll start the appropriations calculations. I'll take about a minute or two to do that normally, and then I'll do some motions, and then I'll let you know how much money you get along with any additional info you need to know, and I can revise the calculations based upon if you discover anything new. But I'm
Awesome,
assuming
thank you.
that you're requesting 3,500 in capital expenditures, 700 in building venue rental, 500 in equipment rental, 300 in printing and publicity, and 1,000 in programming.
I think
Okay.
we're slightly off on that point, Josh,
I think
What?
did you say 3,500?
because there's
for
the
capital
fall
expenditure?
concert and the special project.
I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not including the reimbursement.
Yeah, but there's neither of those are reimbursement.
Oh,
Right, but that's only like
That comes
2,000.
to the fall concert in terms of light, sound, and videographer and photographer
Right.
comes to 4,000, and 3,500 is the special project budgeting.
Yeah.
oh, okay, I see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Never
so
mind.
it's probably more.
which is why I was saying like around 7,000 total appropriations
Right.
probably.
Okay,
Exactly.
thank you for that. Okay, well, I will
Thank
be
you.
calculating in the meantime. Yeah, so then it's 3,000, 4,000, 7,500 for capital expenditures then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So give me a moment, I'll start calculating. Okay, I moved to appropriate $4,500 in capital expenditures. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. I moved to appropriate $400 in building venue rental. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. I moved to appropriate $350 in equipment rental. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. I moved to appropriate $150 in printing publicity. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. I moved to appropriate $600 in programming. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. So the total comes out to $6,000 for appropriations. Actually three things to keep in mind. One, for the line item change, I reflected in our internal like sheet that $400 was given for building venue rental, but in the Congress Finance website, it says 4,900 for capital expenditures because it's the 4,500 in capital expenditures plus 400 building venue rental, if that makes sense. I can't edit the line items in the Congress Finance website. So
I
that's one.
can. Do you want me to do that?
If you can make new line items?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, then please do. I
Alright.
don't know why I don't have access to that.
Oh, wait, why did it go away? I had access to it like literally 2 seconds. Wait, no, I have it again. Fear
Okay.
not.
Thank you.
I'll do that. I'm gonna go grab
The next
Vietnamese while you're finishing up with Julia.
Yeah, okay. Second thing, capital expenditures, they require heightened approval from the
Yeah. Forgive me if I butcher this name. Tui? So,
Yeah, it's Twee.
Tui, thank you very much. I'm going to scoot you into breakout room 2 in just a second. Are you waiting on anyone else, or are you
No,
gonna go
it's
in
just gonna
person
be me
presenting?
today.
All right, perfect. Sorry for the wait. We had a bit of a finance issue in the last hearing.
Sounds
We've
good. You're all
cleared
good.
that up
Thank
now.
you.
All right, sticking you in room 2. I'll join you in a second.
All right.
Benjamin, we, like I said, are running slightly behind schedule right now. We just had a pretty extensive cleanup on the last one, but hopefully I'll be able to get you in the next, 8 to 10 minutes. So just
Great.
hold tight.
Great. Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. And then for both people from Alpha Chi Sigma, breakout room 1 will stick you guys in shortly once they finish their current hearing.
Vietnamese students. Okay, great. So just 3 quick reminders. First, for time constraints, please keep the presentation under 3 to 5 minutes in length. Second, we don't allow the use of visual aids like screen sharing or presentations and whatnot. And then finally, for this budgetary cycle, you can expect to receive about 45 to 50% of what your organization is requesting. Other than that, you can begin whenever you're ready.
Alrighty, so UNC Vietnamese Student Association is a social and cultural organization, and we strive to kind of create an inclusive environment for members to learn about Vietnamese culture and its traditions. It's mainly a place for students to seek a community with similar backgrounds and experiences, or for anyone who's really just interested in Vietnamese culture or Asian culture. We're definitely not just Asian exclusive. It's a great place to meet new people. We meet multiple times a month, and we have about like 30 to 40 active members every year, every semester. Some of the major events that we have are our charity gala and Vit Night. Charity gala happens in the fall, and it raises money and awareness for our philanthropy, Children of Vietnam. I know it's different from what I put in my description in the funding request, but this philanthropy is kind of the same as the one that I mentioned. It invests in breaking barriers to help children in poverty to gain a healthier life with more opportunities back in Vietnam. And this will be held in the Great Hall and will be open to both on and off campus people, so students as well as families. We'll have performers that are both student performers and just performers in the area, and we hope to also bring out a representative from the organization to come out and speak or give a little speech on their mission and impact. So for that, we just need funding for things such as like decor, labor costs, rentals. Um, and then the other big event that I mentioned was Vit Night, just a big cultural show spreading awareness for Vietnamese and other Asian cultures through traditional performances such as dancing and singing. Since it is our biggest event in the year, it's normally in the spring, but since it is the biggest one, we get started in the fall, and we just kind of need funding for items such as rentals and decor because we do a big show for that. Other than the big events throughout the semester, we hold a lot of cultural and social events to kind of keep members engaged and involved, allowing them to kind of build a safe community to express themselves and all. And to run these, we need standard supplies such as for games and activities, decor, rentals, and also possible travel funding for fun retreats for our members. Lastly,
Our club also maintains a dance team that requires traditional Vietnamese costumes and props. And because that's slowly growing every year, we're looking for funding for those items for better and higher quality materials. And yeah, that's just a quick rundown of everything.
Great, thank you so much. We'll now move into the questioning phase. So if any senators have any questions, you guys can feel free to ask.
Hey guys, I just was mainly gonna comment on um the your overall clothing allocation.
Yes.
You have what? So some of that comes from your dancing costume. I'm currently trying to look for it. I guess I'm just not able to find it. Where does the rest of that come from?
Let me see if I can pull that up real quick because the rest of it should just be props if it's not from the clothes. I know we have like a limitation on the clothes, but it's just
No.
props such as dancing fans as
I
well as
see it. 1,600 in Vietnamese dresses and then another 500 in Vietnamese dresses.
So that's over costume allocation
I
slightly.
might have mistypoed that for that. Sorry about that. But yeah.
But I wouldn't be too concerned because with our appropriations amount.
Yeah. But I might have mistypoed that because the rest should just be for dancing props instead of costumes.
Oh, you're right. I see it, Josh. All right, yeah, all good. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Yeah. I just had two questions. One, it says on the form you're unwilling to identify the student congress as its sponsor. That is a prerequisite for funding. So would you be amenable to doing that?
Yes.
Okay,
I think that was also a mistype, probably.
got it. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. And then also of your requested expenditures based on the based on the line item requests like clothing or labor fees or whatnot, what would you identify as the most important for the operation of your organization?
I would say probably the clothing.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that was all the questions that I had. So now we can move on to the appropriations calculations phase. So how this will work is I'm going to take a minute or two to do that. You can just sit tight in this meeting, like do not leave. Once I finish, I will let you know. I will first make some motions, then I'll let you know how much you know appropriated and any additional info that you need to know. But thank you for the presentation.
All right, thank you.
All right. I move to appropriate $1,260 in clothing. Do I hear a second?
Okay.
Do I hear a
Second.
second? Thank you. I move to appropriate $150 in dues and fees. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. I move to appropriate $200 in equipment rental. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. I move to appropriate $300 in, oh no, $200. Okay, $150. Okay, I'm gonna restart from dues and fees. I got lost. $150 in dues and fees. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $200 in equipment rental. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $200 in labor fees. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $300 in lodging. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. I move to appropriate $100 in printing and publicity. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $500 in programming. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $400 in speaker fees. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $4,060 in supplies. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. And finally, I move to appropriate $100 in travel. Do I hear a second?
So moved.
Thank you. In total, you have been appropriated $7,270.
Levi and Benjamin, I'm going to scoot you guys into breakout room 2 in just a second for your finance hearing. Is there anyone else who's coming, or is it just you two?
Just the two of us.
All right, perfect. I'm going to move you guys in. I'll join you in a second.
Great.
Thank you.
Mhm. Sarah, we're running slightly behind schedule. So you might have to chill out here for another like 8 to 10 minutes before we can hear you.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, sorry about that.
Muted. Josh.
Oh no, I was typing something else. Sorry about that. But hello, how are you guys?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing good, thank you. Yeah, sorry about the delay in time, but yeah, we can get started right now. I'll just give it 3 quick reminders. First, due to time constraints, please keep the presentation between 3 to 5 minutes long. Second, for the sake of fairness, we don't allow the use of visual aids like slideshows or screen sharing. And then finally, for this budgetary cycle, you can expect to receive about 45 to 50% of what you have requested. Other than that, you guys can begin when you're ready.
Great. Well, good evening. My name is Benjamin Goroshnik, and I'm the treasurer of Hillel.
Hey everyone, I'm Levi Mellon, and I'm one of the co-presidents of Hillel.
So, serving as representatives of our org, we will be advocating for the allocation of funds that will enable our club to serve, engage, and educate our vibrant student community. Our requests, which I'll detail more further, function in 3 primary categories: building and upkeep, events, and speakers and security. These categories are highly aligned with our mission of fostering a welcoming space for students while also promoting Jewish culture, traditions, and interfaith understanding for everyone. So starting with building upkeep, it's expensive to, maintain the building after so many weekly events, which I'll get more into later on, because we want to keep it an environment where students can come in and out during the day and really use the space as they please. So they can use it to study, they can use it to socialize, or just generally de-stress. We also have plans to grow the outdoor space of Hillel. So specifically outdoor activity programming and recreation supplies, such as a volleyball net, to drive student engagement and team building, because again, that really strongly aligns with our mission.
Yeah, and so now turning to our second category of events. One significant event that we already have in the books this year is an interfaith Thanksgiving this November. We plan on doing a massive service project that kind of aligns with this event, and we need to finance supplies and other resources for a large food drive that we're going to be putting on as part of our service. And we project to have roughly 100 student participants for this program. Every year, our organization puts on a flu shot clinic. So we onboard a nurse to come and give flu shots for students throughout the Chapel Hill community, where we collaborate with CVS, and we're planning on continuing this program this year. And so additionally, North Carolina Hillel puts on a yearly Shabbaton, where it's an opportunity for anyone and everyone, regardless of whether you're Jewish or not, to experience Jewish traditions, Jewish lifestyles. And as our organization Hillel, we want to be a resource to help finance this opportunity for all Jewish students at Chapel Hill who are really eager to attend it and experience this kind of once in a lifetime opportunity. And lastly, we put on weekly Shabbats, where we have participants ranging from roughly 30 to 70 people per Shabbat, depending on the season. And each Shabbat usually surrounds a sort of central theme or program. So I guess, for example, we've brought in guest speakers in the past, or we've led service events that go alongside the Shabbat, which require additional expenses, but really engage the student community.
Right. And so to talk a little bit more about our speakers, a few times a year we have initiatives to bring in a big speaker. Last year we brought in Michael Twitty. This year we're thinking about bringing in Amanda Berman, who's a very well-known Jewish historian and educator. And this is another one of our most popular events. We had around actually north of 100 participants at our Twitty events last year. We also need funding for other inclusive and diverse speakers, as we want to pull thought leaders from their respective fields to come to Hillel and help us educate students beyond just the walls of the building about Jewish and Israeli culture, life, and ethnicity. And again, this is, of course, open to anyone and everyone who wants to attend. Our attendance rates are less than 50% Jewish when we have these speakers. And with the high holidays coming up, we're expecting about 150 people to come this Friday evening and over the weekend and throughout the high holidays as they continue. We're also paying for a rabbinic intern speaker, and we've paid for a lot of supplies for these events. And usually for such large events, we also hire security just for everyone's safety. So thank you all very much for considering our proposal. And now we'd like to open up to any questions you guys may have.
All right, thank you. With that, we can move into the questioning period. So, if any senators have any questions, you guys can feel free to ask.
Couple of questions to kind of run through. Okay. So you talk about Facebook ads a lot. Does that mean that you're like physically paying for an advertisement to appear on Facebook? If so, we're not able to fund that. We can't.
Yeah. So we don't do a lot of that. We have a lot of different expenses, and we only expense a select few of those through the undergrad student government, specifically just the ones that are pertinent to your constraints.
Okay, so the Facebook ads and stuff under printing and publicity would not be paid for with our money. All right, cool. Question numero dos. For travel, we have very specific regulations regarding how much money we can fund for travel. And I noticed that there's like, given the fact that you don't know exactly how many people are participating in different things that you're holding yet, you can't really do that. How did you get your, like $500 for gas for the retreat you hold in Greensboro and that kind of stuff?
Right. So this is for the Shabbaton specifically, I can talk about that. It's an event we host every year, and we can look at historic participation and how much money we've been able to request from the undergrad student government, how much we've been granted. So usually we go off of historical trends. Obviously, like you said, we don't know exactly how many people will sign up, but we do have a rough idea based on what has happened in the past.
All right, cool. Last question I had, what are you guys putting security under in your requests? Was that under supplies or building venue rental?
So I think there was actually an option for security. There was also an option for labor. So I was
So
thinking
I
one of those
see
two.
there is no security and labor is only $500, whereas your security is cited as being significantly over that.
Yeah. I believe I put a little bit more, but I can double check that. Yeah.
Yeah, because the only two that you have that would have enough money in it to fund security are building venue rentals and supplies, both of which I don't think you guys put security in. Yeah, that was my only other main question. Actually, aside from the fact you cite a thousand a thousand members, is that
Yeah, so
accurate?
I think officially we are a 500 to 1,000 member organization. I think Levi, could you speak a little bit more to that?
Yeah, so our Hillel organization has a sort of specific portal outside of Life that tracks membership, sort of people who come. We track all the metrics about membership, who comes to events, and just I think I was speaking with one of our directors the other day, and Ben, and we were seeing a range of about 500 to 1,000 people registered in our portal that we use to do all the signups for our events and track membership.
All right, sick. That's probably all of my questions. Yeah. All right.
Awesome.
All
Thank
right,
you.
great. Yeah, Mr. Chair, you basically got all of my questions, so that really covers up the questioning period. With that, we can move to the appropriations calculations. So how this will work is I will be quickly taking about a minute or two to calculate how much money we'll give you guys. Then I'll run through a few motions, and then I'll let you know how much you've been appropriated and any additional information you need to know. But thank you guys for the presentation.
Thank you very much.
All right, I move to appropriate $2,200 for building venue rental. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. I move to appropriate $500 in clothing. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $500 in dues and fees. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. I move to appropriate $250 in equipment rental. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $250 in labor fees. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $150 in printing and publicity. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $500 in programming. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $700 in speaker fees. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $1,850 in supplies. Do I hear a second?
So moved.
Thank you. And I move to appropriate $400 in travel. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. In total, you've been appropriated $7,300. The one thing to keep in mind will be this is not the final amount. The Senate will pass a final budget act by September 26th. So keep an eye out for that around that time period on the Congress Finance website, as the values may change a bit, increase or decrease. And keep that in mind when planning your operational expenses. But other than that, if you guys have any questions, please say so. If not, thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm gonna grab the other people. Last
Okay.
round here, Josh.
Yep.
Hey guys, sorry for the wait. We got slightly behind schedule on our last couple of meetings due to a couple finance issues. You guys cool if I put you into the breakout room now?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, perfect. Thank you for waiting.
Yep. How are you guys?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good, thank you. So which one of you is the treasurer?
I'm the treasurer.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so just a few quick reminders before we begin. First, uh, due to time constraints, please keep the presentation under 3 to 5 minutes long. Second, while for the same reasons, we don't allow the use of visual aids like screen sharing or slideshows. And then finally, for this budget cycle, you can expect to receive about 45% of what your organization has requested. With that said, you guys can begin when you're ready.
Okay, awesome. So I'm Sarah Wooster. I'm the treasurer with Modern Extension Dance Company. We are the only audition-based modern dance company on campus. And we just recently had auditions, and we're up to 33 members now. We offer master classes that are taught by professional and real dancers from the real world. And then we do small groups throughout the week that allow our students to showcase their choreography and such. So outlined in our budget request, we have two events. One of them is the Fall Improv Show, which is subsidized by your funding, allowing us to keep going on and not have to charge for any tickets. And our spring show, which is the much more costly expense, includes costumes and a venue. In years past, the venue is quite expensive. It's around $3,000, and we are trying to invest in our dancers a lot more, which is why maybe the costume costs are slightly higher than you might see elsewhere. Because currently we have a storage closet where you actually are able to reuse materials. And so we really try to emphasize sustainability and reusing what we already have, but unfortunately we just don't have that inventory. But yeah, so the two major things we are looking for being funded this year are venue costs and costume costs. And I would, yeah, and we were very frugal. I will say we were very frugal with what we requested. We based it directly off of what we paid for in the past and also what we have been given in the past by undergraduate student government. We were given around just 1,500 for costumes last year and around 3,000 for venue. So
Got it. All right. Thank you guys. We'll now move into the questioning period. So if any senators have any questions, you guys may feel free to ask.
One main two main questions. Number one, when you talk about production costs for your fall improv show, that is just, you say $900 and that's just included in building/venue rental. Is there any other money that's going to be spent on that, or?
So no, so
Okay.
the only thing we have our members use their own closet for costumes and such is just purely the rehearsal. It's about 3 days worth of production costs where they have to open up the building for us.
Perfect. And then my other question is just, are you guys familiar with the code mandated rules regarding printing jobs exceeding $100?
No, I think
Okay.
that was an oversight. We do tend to spend a lot of money on printing,
Yeah.
but that's because we try to be really like upscale with our printing. We use the fancy stuff.
Yeah.
But
So if you guys do spend over $100 on a print job, you just have to provide basically two different quotes from two different printing printers, and you have to show two different quotes, go with a lower one. It also has to be on like 30% recycled paper, unless you want to like a higher margin for approval. But yeah, those are my two questions.
Thank you, Chair Baruch. I have no other questions, so with that, we can move into the appropriations calculations. How this will work is I will take about a minute to do this. You guys can just sit tight in the meeting, like don't leave. Once I finish, I'll let you know how much you've been appropriated and anything else that you need to know. But otherwise, thank you for the presentation, guys.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, I move to appropriate $2,000 in building venue rental. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Move to appropriate $600 in clothing. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. And I move to appropriate $150 in printing and publicity. Do I hear a second?
So moved.
Thank you. With that, you guys have been appropriated $2,750. One thing to keep in mind, aside from the printing that Chair Baruch has mentioned out, the printing rules, is this is not the final amount. The Senate will pass a final budget act around September 26th. So keep an eye out on the Congress Finance website around that date, as the value could change a little bit. And keep that in mind when planning your operational expenses. Other than that, do you guys have any questions?
No, that's all. Thank you.
All right, then, perfect. Have a good one, guys.
All right. Main meeting time.
Yep.
Oh,
Thank you, guys.
looks like Forbes is nowhere to be seen right now.
He just asked, "Are you guys done? Is the entire meeting just oh, okay. I'll
Well,
see
he's
you in the
just
main
yeah.
session."
All right. We are done. Now, looking at the budgets. Subcommittee 1 is 1,600 under budget. Subcommittee 2 is 3,500 over budget. That leaves us, let's see, 1,900 over budget. But yeah, we are safely over budget or under budget the previous 2 meetings, so I do not believe that it will be necessary for us to reconcile this budget. All right, that is all that we have tonight. Only one more meeting of this cycle next, well, not next Thursday, this Thursday. After that, we will be done with hearings for a little while. Won't hold up any more of your time, so I will call this meeting to adjourn at 11:09 p.m. Thank you all so much for your hard work in this process. Have a good one.
Good job, y'all.
Good job, guys.